Hello and welcome back to another Thursday night live this week for the Severin sale with somebody that is going to be an actual expert on Severin, and I cannot wait to dive into this. I've been longing for this show since I first talked to you, my friend. Tonight we have QC extraordinaire, Mr. Blake Monahan. Blake, thanks for showing up tonight.
Thank you. I love that. QC extraordinaire. That sounds awesome.
Well, when you sent me the resume, I was impressed that you actually put that on there. That's a pretty ballsy move.
Yeah, you know.
It's a good choice. So, first time on the show. How you been? Introduce yourself to the world. Tell them what do you want everybody to know about you.
Well, I mean, I guess I've been started with physical media since I worked at Suncoast Video in the 90s. You know, of course,
Nice.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. Or actually before that, probably working in mom and pop video rental stores. You know, I am older, 47. Probably older than a bunch of your audience.
Look 47, Blake. You look about 32.
I have mostly dogs and cats, you know, no children, so that helps.
That's why you look so young.
But yeah, you know, so working around videos always and having a desire to go to film school. David Lynch, of course, you know, I saw Lost Highway when I was in my formative years and was blown away. I'm like, oh, wow, this is like crazy, you know, and then always liked the horror films and George Romero, particularly being from Pennsylvania, you know, that kind of regional filmmaker really spoke to me. And I guess, you know, we're getting those homebrewed books like John Russo and, you know, how to make a movie type books, you know, kind of had me, you know, wanting to go to film school. And I dabbled in that a little bit, but of course, you know, that's a tough realm. And then, you know, from there started working, doing, I guess the way to describe it in that time was, you know, selling movies at conventions, you know, like DVDRs, that kind of stuff, you know, and meeting people like
Super
Mike,
license titles,
those kind of things, yeah, you know. And this is the wild west of the 90s, of course, so it's a different realm, you know. But quickly met people like Bill Lustig, Mike Vraney, that kind of set me on the right path. And one of the things that I really wanted to do, I was reading Bill Landis's book Sleazoid Express at the time, and the vibe of the grindhouses, the 42nd Street experience, kind of really made me want to like experience something like that, you know. So I started doing some revival screenings here at home, only because of meeting Mike from Something Weird, who had put me in touch with Eric Hayden at Hollywood Book and Poster. And they had like all kinds of stuff, H.G. Lewis and crazy reels and reels, you know. And this is before AGFA, when it was a little harder to track down all of that stuff, you know. So we did a screening of Blood Feast, and then that's how I got hooked up with things with Bill Lustig. We did Zombie. We did a screening with Bill coming up to do Maniac Cop 1 and 2. And, you know, I was really enjoying doing the programming. That was awesome, you know, but it was tough to maintain, you know, around here. I live in Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's a small area, you know. It's not quite as now it's a little more thriving. People can do monthly events and things like that. But this is like 2002, 2003, around there, you know, a little harder to hype, a little harder to carry on a monthly audience, I felt like. And there was like really cool things going on, of course, like, you know, the Exhumed Films guys were not that far away doing stuff. So kind of from there, I went and worked at Troma, you know, and that was really where I cut my teeth. For sure.
You are the second, I think, in the last week that I've talked to that has some sort of pretty major background in Troma. So what all did you do at Troma?
Well, early on when I originally went to film school, I was trying to get a job as a production assistant on, I think at the time it would have been maybe Terror Firmer. It must have been around that time, you know. But I just didn't think I could juggle both of them. I was going to New York Film Academy, which is just kind of like a really intensive program where you kind of have to, you know, it wasn't like I had a lot of time to burn, you know.
Yeah.
So it took me a few years, and it was only after doing the screenings and stuff, I kind of went to Lloyd with like a manila envelope full of like newspaper cuttings and flyers of things that I did, and like dumped them on his desk. I'm like, hey, you know, like, give me a job. And like, you know, they kind of like blew me off, and I was like, whatever, you know, and kind of like got on the bus to come back home, and Michael Hurst called me and he was like, why would you want this job? It's a terrible job. If we don't pay you anything, we're going to treat you like trash. Why would you want this? I'm like, I don't know, like give him all the reasons why I want it. And I don't know, we'll call you Monday. And, kind of went to go do that thing, and there I was doing public relations and acquisitions. So basically at that time at Troma, they still had the cool building on 9th Avenue, Hell's Kitchen there. It was awesome building. You probably
before rent exploded.
Oh, well, it was worth a lot then. There was a McDonald's downstairs. You know what I mean? It was like, the building, I think, was probably one of the best assets, And at that time, you had to figure, like, I was working with Troma Team Video. I was actually just watching. Well, I don't want to get into that just yet, but around 2003, when the DVD thing starts to like implode. You know what I mean? And that was kind of what was wild to me, getting back into physical media now, was a lot of the titles, the Troma pickup titles that were like nobody cared for are now hot sells. You know what I mean? And I love to see that shift in the market and people like, seeing that, like, 15 years, almost 20 years later, you're like, that is awesome. Like it's really cool to see things finally like reach their audience.
Yeah, I mean, so many of these are getting definitive releases that back then we had people scoffing at, and now we're all like, fucking Mother's Day has this incredible 4K release.
But like even then, there were like really discerning fans that were like, you have to do it right. And back then, I can't, there was a lot of scenarios where it wasn't done right because it was a DVD and there's like, whatever, you know what I mean? And I do see like the meticulous care that goes into it now, which is incredible to me. Truly is film restoration being the forefront and the DVD sales almost being like after. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to see so much care put into things.
Well, and funny enough, I don't know if you're ready for that stage, but you're one of the people putting in that care nowadays. Is that what came after about that part?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think kind of, do you remember the film The Children?
Of course. Yeah.
All right. So there was a DVD release of The Children that Troma put out that was largely maligned, widely loathed, and we at Troma Team Video didn't really have a lot of input, like, as to how things went, but we sure did get a lot of hate mail. And at that time, like my inbox just like exploded with just like hate mail over the transfer of The Children. I couldn't particularly tell you what was wrong with it, but at that time it kind of I was like, okay, maybe I need to chill on this for a little bit. You know what I mean? And we left Troma Team Video, me and some of the other dudes, and went and tried to make our own movie. It was called Kickball, the movie. It was executive produced by Lloyd and Michael, but it didn't get finished. Then I went and worked on a movie that Paul Sorvino filmed up here, which also did not get finished, So I started just kind of like collecting discs a little bit. And during the pandemic, it kind of, just getting away from film and stuff, for a while, I was like, all right, well, kind of get away from discs and stuff for a while. But during the pandemic, I picked back up on discs and wanted to collect discs again. Like I had picked up a few things, some standouts like Liquid Sky from Vinegar Syndrome. I was like, that kind of was the thing that brought me back in. But definitely during the pandemic started collecting again to the large degree, It's a funny story how I get back into it, because around the time, do you remember the Nunsploitation box set that Severin put out? So they were rapid firing, putting out a bunch of stuff, And around that time, I listened to the Severin Films podcast, and Andrew was talking about doing QC on Blood for Dracula and was like, this has been horrible. Like we need somebody else to do this work, probably just joking, and Severin does like a rapid fire release of a couple things that they post on Facebook. So on maybe the third thing, which I believe is Nunsploitation, I was like, hey, how about I, do some of that QC work that Andrew doesn't want to do, you know, kind of just like throwing it out there, you know, like, and sure enough, Andrew messages me and is like, hey, dude, like, do you have any experience? And actually, I do, you know, doing the Trauma Team video thing, you know?
Yeah.
So they gave me a couple of test jobs, and that was a couple of years ago. And from there, you know, it's kind of expanded, you know, really just checking, you know, as much as I can. I try to watch as much as I can.
QC is not a joke. I know most people have probably not had to do one for a disc yet, but it is exhausting. It is something that takes a very specific eye. Why don't you share some of the things that you look for in some of these QCs?
I think it would really depend what stage that I get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So sometimes I'm looking at things like directly out of restoration, and you're just looking for restoration errors, you know, like dropped frames. You know, you're going to look at the color correction, things like that. But a lot of that is color correction, especially, is not stuff. You know, I work with a lot of smarter people, and kind of on my end, you know, Andrew has put it to me like, I'm looking at it like on the same end that everybody else here watching is looking at it. You know what I mean? Like I'm a dude watching a disc at home. Does it work? Do you know what I mean? Like it just is there a weird sync thing? And one thing that I'm semi fanatical about is subtitles, because the way that everything is mixed today, of course, I always have subtitles on, you know, and it will drive me bananas when they're not as accurate as they can be. I don't waste a lot of time on it, but it's one of those things that like you try to get right, and you try to, and some labels particularly are like, you really want to get the tone right. You really want to make sure that it matches what it's supposed to be saying, you know, like a word or two here or there. I'm sure nobody really cares, but you know, I want it to be spot on all the time.
I agree too. Yeah. I don't think I've mentioned this on the show, but this year I stepped in and I've done QC on a couple titles for Severin, and it was post restoration before any of the other stuff, so there wasn't even subtitles to check or anything yet. But it was 2 of the titles that are getting upgraded to 4K tonight, and it is crazy to see. You know, from the inside, something that you've seen on Blu-ray multiple times. Because one of the titles that we're going to be talking about tonight that I was able to do is Wild Beast, and that movie is a classic. I mean, it's a movie that I've seen at this point probably. I mean, after QC, you could probably count that for like another 4, but like 8 times actually trying to watch the movie. And you know, it featured in Red Rocket in a poster on in Sean Baker's movie. It's one of those movies that has gained notoriety through that first Blu-ray release from Severin. And so, to do it right, they have to really just do an incredible restoration to make this shine, because it's kind of a quintessential Severin title. Like, this is one of their classic films, and man, this thing is beautiful. What are some of the movies that you've done QC on that have been just something that has wowed you for how it's looked?
Oh, well, for sure, Cemetery, man. I mean, that was a favorite film of mine for the longest time. And when I saw it in the theaters, even, it was muddy.
Yeah.
The DVD release, the Anchor Bay DVD release, was muddy. I had the Shameless Blu-ray of it.
God, it was awful.
You can say it.
Like, it was bad,
you know, but it wasn't, you know, something that I that I needed to hang on to. So seeing it in all of its glory, but I mean, I feel like most 4K restorations I watch these days like really bowl me over, because you know, I came from either the theater or VHS generation, so, and especially the VHS generation. I mean, like, it's cool like that the collector's market of VHS is what it is, you know, but living through it and having access to like 4K of Dawn of the Dead, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not one of those that has nostalgia for the VHS era.
Like, it's cool, you know, and I don't want to diss it, you know, like I have all kinds of stuff, you know, like, but you know, like, it's just, it's not quite my thing.
Not quite my thing is a great way to put it. We're gonna go through some more about the QC for Severin stuff later, and that's the big topic tonight. Obviously, we got a Severin sale launching in the middle of the show later on tonight. We got some recommendations. Blake's got 10 titles. I've got somewhere between 7 and 10 titles to talk about. we'll get there as soon as we go through the announcements. But let's do our regular stuff first. What do you got pickups lately?
Well, right before we started, I was watching your $5 recommendation, the Kim's video
Yeah,
documentary.
nice.
That really put me in the mood for this conversation because it brought back so much nostalgia, and I had no idea that Mr. Kim was such a gangster. Like, I thought it was a really fun documentary. I thought it was going to be all nostalgia. It starts out that way, but then just really gets in this awesome,
you did a good job with it.
Yeah. That was really fun. And like I said, I took a little mini vacation so I could finally unwrap a couple of titles and talk about them. Now, of course, I know you were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. The Quater Mass experiment is just, oh my God.
So I knew you were going to bring this up tonight. Dude. I just got this one in. Here's the second one.
Oh no.
These are incredible. Like, I mean, you've been sharing some pictures. How do you feel about these? What has been amazing?
Like, it's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, like $80. All right. No, and then finally I'm like, all right, fine, paying for whatever. It's semi-painless. Then it shows up and you're like, oh my God, even just popping like the first disc in, there's like a million bonus features. There's, I know everybody like gets down on the art cards and stuff, but maybe one day I'll frame them. I don't know. They're so cool. You know what I mean? It's just like, I guess it's a way to like inflate the price of things sometimes, but I don't know. It's so cool. I don't care.
They're pretty great. And I mean, honestly, for the price, somehow they feel like a steal at the end of it. Like there's so much in there.
There's like four or five discs in there, I think. Like that. And the restorations are beautiful. Like I did you finally get a chance to watch this one or the first one?
The first one I've at least scanned over the disc. I've seen Quatermass many times, so I'm not trying to pour through it again yet.
Okay, so I had never seen it before.
Okay. I mean, dude, the three main movies are incredible. You got to get the sequel too if you have not yet. You should.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, don't threaten me with a good time, dude. I already figured you're going to talk me to spend some money tonight, so
just a little bit, nothing crazy. Anything else you want to flash?
Yeah. So, dude, this for sure. The Mystery of the Third Planet. This Death Crocodile Treasure of Soviet Animation. This thing plays like psychedelic Johnny Quest from Russia. Yeah. It is. Like, what a vibe. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like any Death Crocodile movie, you just pop it on and you're like, what? Like, it's just such a vibe, But that in particular was so much fun. I loved it. It was total Johnny Quest vibes.
The hard thing to share about that, because animation, for some reason, when you post stills online, they're not super impressive.
No.
These movies, you need to pop the disc in and just kind of live in the restoration for a minute. So
yeah, and there's a jankiness to the animation that, of course, it's like this, Soviet era. Like, of course, it was very cheaply, designed and made, but it's just the ingenuity, the character design, creature design, the space backgrounds. It's like it competes with anything that Japanese animation has to offer from the 70s. You know what I mean? It's crazy, and to me, it's like the Wild West. I watch that stuff. I know nothing about it. It's so cool.
Yeah, that first release is great, and we're going to talk about Volume 2 tonight. In fact, I think that's our first announcement we get to talk about.
Awesome.
All right. I'll share a couple, and then if you got anything else, you can throw it in. This is very late. It is July 24th. This released on July 1st, and I just got my own copy of the magazine that I publish, and here is issue number 20, and this is the all black and white. Look at that. You're amazing. Yeah. It delayed like 3 weeks to get it to my house. The author copies suck to get, but I am so happy with this one. It is crazy good looking in person. I got to admit.
I'm happy to announce that mine came quickly from Amazon. So I love the black and white photo section in the middle. That's really cool. But
the glamour shots.
Yeah, there was a lot of great writing in there as well. It's fun. It's fun to pick up a zine like style publication, but it's a lot slicker than that. And the crosswords and stuff are so, that's the only problem with it, dude, is I want to mark it up. I want to like get my pen out.
Do it. Yeah, do it.
Yeah. Like it's
Gotta
like
do it.
for sure.
It's so much fun. I mean, I had somebody show that they keep the release date parts of it, and they circle the ones that they want, so they can go back
Yeah.
through and actually cross them out when they get it in. And
That
that's
I
just
kind
so
of
cool
wanted
to
to
me.
highlight it with the highlighter,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if anybody has not get it yet, you got to check it out. It's some good stuff. I see Silent Mandible saying he's got to get the physical copies. They are so worth it. Dustin saying got that issue's hard copy so fast it arrived in the mail a week before I released it. Yeah, Dustin. Always when I announce it by like the next morning, he's like, "Look what I got already." I'm like, "Gosh dang it." Next one, you talked about an OCN release, so here's one that I wanted to share. This is the Saturn's core release of Twisted Issues that just came out. This is Charles Pinion SOV film that I am super stoked to get. Helped produce the commentary for this release and could not order this fast enough when it went up. Crazy, like different type of like glossy slipcover for Saturn's core than they normally do, but in all reality, this is the poster that many people recognize. Just
That is so cool.
overloaded disc as usual. I mean, the back is literally all the way to the bottom of it, and I think there might even be one more thing that's not listed here because there's not enough space. But it is like every time you get a release like that, I know that I got my money's worth, which I always appreciate. So that's been nice. I got one more sort of smaller release, but I did get one more that I wanted to pair with Quatermass 2 because I pre-ordered this months ago, and I think a warehouse change sort of spawned a delay. And finally, I got in this thing that is heavier than all shit, and that is Wake and Fright 4K from Umbrella. And it's
Look at that chunky boy. I love
massive.
those translucent slips like that. That
Yeah.
is that is such a nice look. That's
really
beautiful.
nice. Love this movie. I have not put the 4K in yet. I just watched this. I think it was in October, but man, really eager to watch this again. This is, if you've never seen Wake and Fright, it is one of the sweatiest movies you will ever see. It is a very hot type of movie, and so it's not really great to watch in July in the middle of a freaking heat wave in the Midwest. I'll probably watch this like mid-November and be able to warm up a little bit around it.
So you watch the cold movies in the summer and the hot movies in the winter?
I'm a fat man. Yeah, it genuinely brings me a little bit of comfort. Yeah. Yeah, it's worth it for sure.
I feel like I do the opposite because, like, we had a heat wave here, and I was watching like Hills Have Eyes and stuff like that. Texas Chainsaw, getting sweaty.
Hills Have Eyes is rough in the summer, and it doesn't matter if you watch the original or the remake. Both of them are like, yeah, we're just gonna suck the soul out of you.
Yeah, I was actually pricing out the. I have only seen the first of the Wrong Turn films. Maybe your watchers can tell me if the rest of them are worth watching, because around that time I was like, oh, maybe I should check those out too. But I was like, there's like 8 of them or something.
I don't think I've seen any of the Wrong Turn.
Oh, the first one is, you got the killer hillbilly scenario.
Yeah.
It's you can't go wrong with that. It's always plausible.
I need to for sure. The last one I feel like is a quite Blake type of pick, and I have the first one here somewhere, but this one is maybe of the first two the one that I'm more excited about. Also, very much goes with the shirt that I'm wearing tonight, kind of on theme because we both are into some of the Something Weird stuff.
Yeah.
This new Psychotronica set that is coming out through they're calling it MVD Visual, but I think it's actually a piece of VCI if I remember right. So this is Mondo Keyhole. This is the second release in this new line that they're doing. I think they've announced 6 now, and there's some like sexploitation type titles. There's some stuff that is a little on the sleazier side. They're not going to have like amazing restorations or anything. These are going to be pretty budget type of releases, but these are really, really interesting and not getting a lot of attention on other sort of labels. So check the other ones out. They just did, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's The Mermaids of Tiberius or something like that is one of them. And it's basically just a bunch of topless mermaids. I mean, what's not to love there? That's great. But yeah, Mondo Keyhole is not going to get probably a release from anybody else anytime soon. And these are decent releases. I mean, we're talking 2 discs.
Yeah,
It's
look at
got
that.
reversible art. It's got Some special features. There's a brand new commentary on here. It is, if I remember right, I think this is even like a 2K restoration and scan. But these are restored in 2K from the original uncut 35 millimeter negative. I kind of think these are going under the radar, so pay attention to these if you have not yet.
I definitely need that. Topless Mermaids definitely sounds like
right.
It's in my wheelhouse.
I think it comes out next month. I need to get that one in here too. But it brings up something that is really, really exciting for tonight. If you are paying attention to the announcements right before we went live tonight, I shared a video across all of my social media for a new podcast joining the Someone's Favorite Productions network. And now I want to share that video with all of you before we go into the announcements. Let me bring it up here.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
There we go. And we're back. So yeah, really, really exciting that they're part of the network, but maybe even more exciting, we get to bring on for a few minutes here the two hosts of the show. Here's Gentry Austin and Casey Scott. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey guys,
hello.
thank you for having us. And in grand tradition, we're already talking over each other.
I am so
I'm very
stoked
bad
to
at
see you guys
that.
here. This is incredible. First, tell us how Syndicate got started.
Well, I'll start, I guess. I started a Instagram page probably about a year and a half ago, just dedicated to sexploitation, mainly as a way for me to kind of just remember all the stuff I was watching, because if you've watched any sexploitation, you know that they're very brief. 90 minutes is probably long for a sexploitation film. So I was watching so many, I was like, okay, I need to like just catalog this somehow. So I just started a page and posted original screen caps and video clips. And after a while, I was just like, you know what? In my research, I was like, you know, nobody's really doing a podcast about this. I mean, some people have been covering some of the titles, some of the larger titles, I guess, you know, the Russ Meyers and some of the Doris Wishman stuff. But I kind of saw a void there, and I was just like, well, Jesus, God knows we don't need another podcast, but, you know, this might be fun. So,
Yeah.
you know, Casey is a guy who, you know, his name has come up a lot in my research into sexploitation. So I had sent him just a random message online. I was just like, hey, want to start a sexploitation podcast? And right away he was like, let's do it. So I was like, all right, let's start it. And we just have been kind of off to the races since then.
Well, in my post, I shared that literally like 3 minutes into hearing the first episode that I listened to, I went, you know, we have to get this podcast. I mean, it is movies I love. It is respect to filmmakers that don't get much respect. It is well researched. It is accurate research. It is discussing back and forth if we're going to fix IMDb pages because nobody has over the last 43 years. And that is the kind of autistic attention to detail that I love. Casey, how did we get to this point in research? Because this is incredible.
Yeah, Casey is a stickler for the accuracy. All right, go ahead, Casey.
I really am. Yeah, but I've said that multiple times. You know, in our last episode, that I think the first one on the network was the Ed Wood one, and we talked about how there are people attributing films to Ed Wood, but I need the proof, and it's hard to find proof on a lot of these things. So that's what I try to do. I've been doing this since high school, and I turned 42 this year. So I've been doing this for a long time. I've been reaching out to people who will talk to me, and doing extras for, you know, Media Blasters releases, Vinegar Syndrome releases, Distripix releases, things like that over the years. So I've thought about doing a podcast, but I tend to try to stay in the background. I try to platform the people that I'm writing about or that I'm interviewing. It's really more about them. But Gentry contacted me and I said, well, I think this will work if I'm working with someone as passionate as Gentry, because then I'll have someone that can we can support each other and keep each other passionate and interested about this. And Gentry does the editing, Gentry does the sound clips and everything. And no, it's been fun so far, but it's the only frustrating thing for me is that we've barely scratched the surface. So we have a massive list of stuff that we want to cover, and we only do it like once every week or every 2 weeks, and we might need to do a double feature or something, Gentry, to kind of knock a few more off this list.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's
yeah,
incredible.
I had pitched that early on, like, hey, we'll do like top 10, nudie cuties, top 10 naughty westerns, but then I think we kind of decided not to go that route. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
I
we
say,
tend to do that anyway, because we cover so much stuff in one episode on one film. And that would actually, that's something I was thinking about, is doing a letterbox list of all the movies that we randomly bring up in every episode to because we really jump all over the place. That would be a
massive list. Yeah.
It would be.
I always wish I had done that when I first started. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I guess I was just gonna say, like, a little background is that we cover one, like Casey said, we cover one film per episode, and we do a pretty deep dive on it. We like, if you're familiar with sexploitation, like, there is still a lot of mystery around a lot of the films, so we do our best to try to uncover what we can. And Casey's a great researcher. I'm an armchair researcher as well. So give it a listen, and hopefully, let us know if we missed anything or if there's any corrections. We love that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And the kind of titles you guys are covering. I mean, you mentioned Ed Wood. You've talked about these sexy nudie westerns. You've talked about these random ass sexploitation films that so many people have just never heard of. Something weird gets brought up pretty much every 12 seconds. And Blake, who is the guest tonight, loves something weird as well. Blake,
I love something weird. Yes,
what did you just do at Mahoning, like just a couple of weeks ago, right?
Man, it was so I only live seriously under an hour away from there, but my schedule and everything, I just have not gotten a chance to go out there. But as soon as I saw there was a something weird event, we had to go. We had 100% go. I had met Lisa back in the day, at conventions and stuff. Like back then, but it was nice to see her, say hi. Of course, seeing that stuff though, like on the drive-in screen and the little intermission stuff, like everything.
Yeah, I was so jealous.
It was 4th of July. It was like the best 4th of July I ever had. It was really fun. And Mahoning was just such a good vibe. Yeah, very good vibe.
Yeah. They did a something weird series in Anthology Film Archives here in New York a couple of years ago. And it was with Mike, or I think it was after Mike had passed, unfortunately, but Lisa was involved, and they sent actual prints. And they had a print they had 2 prints that actually broke while they were testing them on the projectors, but they actually sent the one print they had of the pickup with the burnt-in Danish subtitles. The one print they sent to actually project on the
that is amazing.
And then one of the only 2 prints of Smell of Honey they sent. And I think Frank Heinleiter sat behind me, and we both kept whispering to each other, "Oh my God, this is so cool! I can't believe we're getting to see this." It was it was a really otherworldly experience. So anyone
once in a lifetime
see any of those, you got to take it. If they ever show anywhere near you, like an hour is a fair.
Yeah, I mean, in New York, it's like Scranton and New York are very close to each other. So we were supposed to come out for Tribeca Film Festival this year to see the Milligan stuff, but just things didn't work out for us. So yeah.
Speaking of that, I was about to say it's Severin night. Casey, you just went on a long discussion on the Milligan stuff. Can you share some fun experiences from that night?
That was one that I unfortunately was not able to make. Alex, our kind of unofficial third co-host, Alex DeSanto, was able to go.
That's right.
And he is kind of like a celebrity in the Milligan world. So he went to like a special pre-screening thing with all these Milligan actors and with Jimmy McDonough. So I mean, he didn't really go into that much detail about what that night was, but I think we could have done a whole episode about that event, because he was just over the moon with that experience. But I'm excited to see those when they come out.
Oh
It's-
man, hell yeah, like
It sounded
absolutely,
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah, and Alex will be
Well,
on the
'cause-
documentary. If you pick, it hasn't
Mhm.
been announced yet, but I'm assuming Severin's going to be putting out that Degenerate documentary. So keep an eye out for Alex. He'll be the guy with like the great hair. You'll know him when you see him.
Yeah,
The only one in the
part-time model.
documentary.
Yes.
You got a question from Dan Sibner. What is each of your favorites nudie subgenre? Casey, what's yours?
Wow.
Nudie sub.
God. You know, I have to
I know
stay
cases.
classic and go with the Roughies. Unfortunately, yeah, I mean the Roughies.
So
The
nudie
Roughies
noir.
were kind of the mind-blowing subgenre that I was like, oh wow, these are really kind of hateful towards women, and it makes you think about like why. And so it really opens up the whole can of worms about the historical and the social context of these films. Like what led to this? How were these films seen then, and how are they seen now? And we're really lucky we got to see any of them, because most of them are black and white, and those did not have any kind of home video life at all until something weird came around. So like we wouldn't know who Michael Finley was, we wouldn't know Anton Holden, or the Olga films. Like none of those, we would know none of those if it wasn't for something weird. So definitely the Roughies for me, which is, I guess, a boring answer, but I just keep going back to them. I don't know.
Gentry, if I remember your commentary right, it's got to be the nudie westerns, right?
Yeah, right. There's
Yeah, you
like
love
two
those.
good ones. I do love.
Right.
I really like the good nudie westerns that we got, which are like 3 of them. But no, I'd probably say the same as Casey. Probably the Roughies, or you could call them probably nudie noirs. Same thing. But yeah, if you listen to our Kiss Me Quick episode where we talked about the nudie cuties, we talk about how it's all building up. The nudie cuties built up to the Roughies because, the market was saturated with these stupid nudie comedies where men were like not allowed to touch women. So, the Roughies were introducing this concept like, okay, we're going to go all the way. Now, the censorship laws were lax enough that we can abuse them and do, heinous things to them. So, that's and then it goes. We could go further than that, but we'll keep it there.
What about you, Blake? Do you have one of those that's your favorite?
I mean, of course, anything with like monsters in it, like what is it, House on Bear Mountain, or
I love that movie.
where monsters crash the pajama party, like those kind of things, right?
Orgy of the Dead.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh man, Orgy of the Dead is a classic. It's classic Ed Wood. A themed striptease in multiple rounds.
Right.
With Criswell. We always got Criswell.
Cannot beat Criswell.
I mean, I would say Roughies too, so that's already been belabored to death. But they're great.
We're coming off really woman hating here, aren't we? In this group.
No,
I went with monsters.
Monsters, yeah, I'm a classic monster kid. I mean, that was kind of fun when we did Kiss Me Quick. We kind of touched on that a little bit. There aren't enough monster cuties, to be honest. You don't mix monsters and naked ladies nearly enough.
No,
and it's such a fun combination.
But those are my main interests, so
sure, that tracks. Yeah, see, my interests are sex and horror, so that might mean why the Roughies are kind of, because they are really horrific. At least the
for sure, yeah. I just watched a couple of the Joe Sarno films, and or I'm sorry,
those are great.
Yeah, and the Ron Sullivan box set from.
I miss Ron. Yeah,
there's some cool stuff in there, man. But
Jennifer
also
Wells.
very, very mean.
Yes, well, Lust Weekend was like his
that's
first film
that's
ever.
The one I have in mind in particular.
He had no experience whatsoever. Yeah, like I interviewed him about that film, and he said, "Yeah, I just basically lied to Sam Lake and said I was a film student to get in his good graces, and said, oh, I wrote this little script." And he said, "Here's a camera, go shoot your movie." That's where there's all this shit that is overexposed, and like he didn't know what he was doing.
For what it is, though, it looks amazing now. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they look so good. Everything on there
there's
is
new
just kind of,
restorations.
it just pops.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome to see that stuff like restored to that degree.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming on and joining the network.
sure.
I think a lot of people in the chat are
Thank
going to
you.
be going to subscribe to that podcast now. Before we go, Gentry, tell us about this brand new episode with the Ed Wood films.
Yeah, we had Will Sloan on, who some of you may know for his work he did with Gold Ninja Video. He's done a bunch of stuff with them. But he's got a new book out about Ed Wood. It's like a critical analysis, and I reached out to him to talk about a film that nobody wants to talk about, which is The Sinister Urge. It's Ed Wood's pretty much his last mainstream movie before he couldn't get a job and just started writing smutty novels, and he wrote Orgy of the Dead somewhere in the middle there. But yeah, we talked to Will about Sinister Urge and kind of how it, where it is in the Ed Wood canon. And going back to the Roughie, we talk about how it's kind of one of the first Roughies, maybe the first or second one. But you'll have to listen to the episode to learn more about that.
Cannot wait. Casey Gentry, thanks for doing this. Everybody, please go subscribe. The links are out there. Anywhere that you get your podcast from, you can get the Sin Syndicate. You guys are incredible, genuinely. The amount of work that goes into each episode should be applauded. And I know that from experience, podcasting is rather insular, and I'm sure you don't get that feedback a lot. So thank you for what you do, because it's incredible work.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you for having us. Glad to be
Cheers,
part of the network.
guys.
Have a good night.
See you guys.
You too. Thanks.
All right. I mean, thanks for putting up with that, Blake.
No, that was awesome. That was awesome. I checked out the podcast the other day when you told me that they were going to be on, and it's awesome. It's very much something that I will find myself listening to all the time. So
nice,
very cool.
Nice. Recent watches. Is there anything else that wasn't in your pickups that you wanted to highlight before we go into this? Or did you have more pickups? I don't remember.
I do. Oh, I do have some more pickups. Of course, I did get from the Criterion sale. I got Thief. It took forever to get here. I don't know what was going on with Amazon with that one, but it was a nice price, so I had to get it.
Nice.
That was an essential. I did get, of course, after going to the drive-in event at Mahoning, Something Weird. I had to get the Teenage Gang Debs.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, that was another one, and. Definitely a big shout out to I got my copy of Breaking Glass. I loved this movie. Earlier when we talked about the QC, of course, I did not mention I have pretty much worked on every Fun City release since Party Girl. And so this one was really fun. And I found myself listening to Hazel O'Connor for weeks afterwards, very, very cool movie.
I don't have that yet.
You didn't get it? Oh, dude.
I wanted to pre-order it with Fabulous Stains, and I was like, You're going to put this up soon, right? And now it's been 6 weeks since we found out about it. I'm like, come on, Hertzberg, get it out there. But yeah, I'll pick it up eventually because I've never seen that one. But I love Fabulous Stains, so I was really hoping to give it.
Yeah, it was a cool, also kind of simultaneously almost. I had worked on for Kino the Blur documentary and the live performance, and I never knew that Phil Daniels, is that his name, the actor?
So.
Yeah, he's the guy that does the Park Life pretty much spoken word for the Blur song. He's from Quadrophenia. He's also in Breaking Glass, so it was kind of neat little I know that guy. You know what I mean? So it was cool. Very cool.
Nice. Any other recent watches?
We went to go see Spinal Tap in the theater the other day, which included a little bit of the new film, which was very enticing.
I think the trailer just dropped right when we went live because they're doing this San Diego Comic-Con event thing right now too. So we'll have to see that soon. I'm kind of worried because they're all quite old and it's been a long time.
the little clip that they played at the end of the movie very much referenced that in a very hilarious way. So I'm hoping that's the joke that they go with, kind of. You know what I mean? So it seemed, we'll see. I don't, I'm not a huge comedy guy, so I don't really watch a ton of comedy films.
Yeah, it's 20. I mean, I was gonna say 2025, but modern times right now is kind of rough for comedy. I'm very curious to see how this whole Naked Gun reboot / remake goes over with people, because great comedies are kind of hard to come by right now.
Yeah, it's a tough subject, and it's probably not my best subject because I've never been I have a few, of course, you know what I mean, that I really enjoy, but it's just definitely it's easy to have a nostalgic filter on comedies from when you were younger and be what I always ask myself, is it that, am I just getting older, and the humor is not the same for me. You know what I mean? And a lot of the stuff that's coming out now, and that's probably why I don't enjoy it, or is it just not funny? You know,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different time. And I mean, that's a good question. You mentioned going to the theater for Spinal Tap. Are you seeing many modern movies?
Probably not. I feel like a lot of my time is tied up in QC, to be honest with you.
I'm not surprised.
Like, you know, I work another job too. I work 3 days a week, and pretty much the rest of it, like if I get out, it's normally I don't even remember what the last new thing that we saw was, to be honest with you. Yeah, it takes a bit to get me to go to the theater also. You know, I'm not into, like, I might see Superman because it seems, you know, fun. And James Gunn, so that's an interesting story. When I worked at Troma, James had the job that I had, maybe 2 people ahead of me. So he was kind of in the Slither stage of his career then, and was always like very cool when I had to like message him and ask him questions. It's just some, you know, low level Troma idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, when he had his like bigger films come out, the Guardians and stuff like that, I remember sending him messages, and he was always like very cool about it. You know what I mean? So seeing also how hard the movie got trolled on, I would probably want to go see it just for moral reasons. You know, like, you know, but
Yeah.
I enjoy a popcorn movie, and if I don't see it in the theater, my likelihood of seeing it is like 0. You know.
Right.
So I really would have to, you know, and I'm not a snob about it or anything like that. It's just, it's kind of like, you know, I just don't, that's not quite the vibe, you know, I look for. You know, also my gripe, I know you've seen me complain about this on my personal Facebook. Everything is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need another 3-hour like comic book movie, man. Give me like, you know, I watch all these exploitation movies. They're 70 minutes. I love it. It's like, give me a tight 80. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to get into what I watched this week, speaking of modern movies, we're at the stage where I'm trying to escape my kids quite a bit. So we somehow talked my mom into watching our kids every Saturday for us to go to the theater. So at this point, I'm watching movies that I could not possibly care less about, but I get to stay out and in a movie theater. So I'm basically in heaven, even though the movies aren't great. But this
I
last
always
weekend,
enjoy the experience of going. It's
right,
such
exactly.
a great time. Yeah, always.
Yeah. So this last weekend, I was kind of worried because things did not look amazing in the trailers. But first film, we went and saw Eddington. This is a rough one to set your palate for the night. The next Ari Aster film, I thought it was quite well made. It was really well shot. They really captured New Mexico beautifully. Captured 2020 in a way that I don't think anybody has in a film yet. But at the same time, just like you just said, I think there was about 40 minutes that did not need to be in this movie. I feel like Ari Aster's at a stage in his career where nobody is telling him no, and he just puts every single thing that he needs in his mind to put in the movie. And the story is great. And I liked the movie. I'm not saying that I didn't, but it definitely had a lot of stuff that just plain did not need to be in the movie. I mean, the second act specifically was long and drawn out.
That's definitely, you know, obviously a result of like the limitations previously of film stock and the raw materials and things.
Yeah.
You know, not having to deal with that has opened up a whole new world of wank. You know, like cinematic wank. You know, like, and I don't know, man. Like sometimes, and I you know, I like a ton. Like I love On the Silver Globe. You know what I mean? That movie's like 3 hours long and has big sections that are just spoken word, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Movies that need to be long, you know, like they need to be long. And I could, you know, that's a whole argument. This will set off a whole entire argument. What needs to be long? You know, yeah. Well, you want to trim a good 20 minutes out of The Godfather, you know, like, I don't know, you know, like but
that's really funny.
You know,
so yeah, last weekend, the other two real quick, I'm going to breeze by the second one because God, this movie is not easy to talk about. I know what you did last summer, the reboot / remake. This is a terrible movie. It's awfully written. That being said, it was entertaining. Like it was a fun watch, but in no way is it a good movie. Like they spoiled the the movie spoiled itself like 20 minutes into it, and I'm just lost at that stage. But the last one is really the one that I want to spend a moment on, because I don't think hardly anybody's going to see this movie, let alone in the theater. I bet this is going to get very little play, but somehow AMC here was showing a film with one of the worst titles I've ever heard, called Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight.
Did AI write that?
Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight. This is a movie about a family of European descent that is living in Africa in 1980 during one of the war times that is happening around there. And there is a period of political tension where they're leading up to a general election. And essentially, if one candidate wins, the idea of democracy feels like it's going to win. And if the other candidate wins, like the nation of Africa that is sort of independent away from the Europeans that are there, are they're feeling more confident that they're going to fare better. But it's very much a rising tension film, all leading up to this political moment. But what makes this interesting is this is a movie that is made from the point of view of an 8-year-old.
Whoa.
So there is a young daughter named Bobo in this film that we are watching the entire time. And so there's certain things that happen that you're only catching glimpses of them because you're the 8-year-old watching this. And so there's things like the parents go into the room and they shut the door, and she says, "Oh, I know what they're doing in there," because the door is shut and locked. And then there's like a brief pause, and she says, "Yeah, they're moving furniture and sometimes naked." And it's just like, it's an 8-year-old. So obviously we know what they're doing,
Right?
but the 8-year-old has no clue, and it's just a hilarious setup for that. But the interesting part is, for those that loved the movie Matilda when you were younger, this was directed and starring Miss Honey from Matilda. I had no idea it was her until it started. Good movie. I gave it a solid 3.5 stars. It was worth the time. It wasn't super long. It was a good film. Good time.
Now, how does your personal rating scale work? Let me ask you. And
So-
also, hold on one second. My diabetic dog is eating cat food. Oliver, get over here. I told you. Wild beast.
That was so interesting.
It's the
First off, diabetic dog eating cat food, named Oliver. That was perfection.
He's
in
named
one
Oliver
sentence.
Reed. He's named after the famed actor. Probably why he is now diabetic is that he always had an affinity for beer. And what he would do was, if you happen to leave a drink on the floor or like anywhere, he would knock it over or lick the top of it. And, I don't know, but yeah, he's diabetic now, and I've kind of just like weathered it for the last bit of the conversation because I didn't want to be rude. But we previously discussed, we have several rescue animals here, and
Yeah.
one of the wonderful things about doing QC is it allows me to also care for the menagerie.
So, as I explained to Blake, just so everybody in the chat knows, I said you're going to mention the animals. They have to make an appearance tonight. So at some point, something will make an appearance with 4 legs. Hopefully.
Yeah, I feel like the orange cats are just getting ready for something big.
All right. So yeah, check out some of those movies if they sound interesting. I feel like it's time to get into some announcements, though. We got to breeze through some of these so we can get to Severin. Let us do it. So first up tonight is, I actually like that a little bit better. Deaf Crocodile announced their title that is up for pre-order now. This is the Treasures of Soviet Animation Volume 2. This has in it the Snow Queen, the Scarlet Flower, and the Key from 1957, 1952, and 1961. Now, the interesting thing about this that is a little abnormal from Deaf Crocodile stuff, usually they put something up for pre-order and it's going to be out the end of the following month. There was a restoration backup, and Craig has been working like crazy, and so sadly this is going to be coming out the next month. This will be out in September, not August. But on the bright side, you get 2 really great titles in September. We're going to announce the next one in August. Another incredible movie. I hope you guys check out both of them, but this is a big deal. Specifically, the Snow Queen is one that people have been wanting a great restoration for ages. We have lots of examples of Miyazaki praising the Snow Queen, saying this is his favorite film, and without it, Studio Ghibli would not exist. So that's a pretty big deal.
That's cool, man. How many volumes of these have they said?
Yes. In the podcast episode that we just released last week, they say there are currently 6 volumes of
Oh
Treasures of Soviet
Lord.
Animation planned, at least.
I have to resubscribe because I have everything from the beginning, and it's been a little tougher to chase without the subscription. So I think I need to do that again.
Well, and I hopefully people watching know I'm not really one to like hype up FOMO or anything like that, but I'm also really proud of Def Crocodile because after leaving OCN and going through that transition for a little while, some people got lost in the shuffle, of course, inevitably. Everybody knew that was going to happen when you leave a company like that. But now some of these limited editions
that's unfortunate because I feel like the things that they've done in the nice hard box editions since then have been just like really beautiful. Like
right. The hard part, if you're not a subscriber, some of these limited editions are starting to sell out quickly now.
I did notice that, yeah.
There are multiple titles that have come out in just the last 3 or 4 months that are already gone of the deluxe edition. So if anybody's after these, again, not trying to say if you're missing out, go buy now or they're gone. But on the other hand, like the Snow Queen is a title that a lot of people have wanted on disc for a long time. I don't see this volume lasting very long. So,
buddy, I can hear my credit card screaming tomorrow. All right. I knew you were going to talk me into all kinds of bad stuff here tonight.
Well, I'm not trying, but congratulations because you're going to love it. This release, by the way, lots of stuff to go over. We've got all 3 films in Russian with English subs. We have a new visual essay by Evan Chester on here, new visual essay by John Adkins of Animation Obsessive, new commentary tracks by Rolf Giesen on this, new artwork on the standard edition by Beth Morris, who does great stuff. I love the circles that we're doing on the animation sets for the Soviet stuff. It's such a beautiful way to separate the 3 titles in there.
Yeah, I listened to your interview with her the other day, and I think that her work on this stuff has been just awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah. And then the deluxe edition, this is Haley Buck. She is doing the art for all of the hard boxes in this set for at least, we've got 6 so far and more potentially, theoretically. So that's crazy. And then, of course, you get a 60-page illustrated book with it. You've got another essay by Rolf Giesen, and then, of course, an essay by Walt Cha, who does something for all of the books. Incredible release. Check it out now if you are into it.
Nice.
First Severin title of the night. So a 4K release of Kill List from 2011 is on the dock. This is the first 4K release of this title anywhere in the world. Over 6 hours of special features. You get a commentary with Ben Wheatley and Mike Hewitt on this, archival commentary with Ben and Amy Jump, another archival commentary with some of the actors. You've got interviews that are coming on this. You've got archival making ofs, all kinds of stuff. Kill List. I love this movie. I think this is one of the better folk horror movies of the last 20 years because, a lot of people are going to say that they dropped off at that point, but this I think is like top tier of that group. I'm sure you've seen this one here. And did you see this title?
For sure did. Yeah. I think the only one out of this batch that I didn't do in some form or another was the Linda Blair film for the summer sale, I should say. But this film in particular, I had not seen before. And so when I get a title, I just download it, get ready to work on it. If I've never heard of it, I don't look it up. I don't want to know anything about it. I mean, that's kind of how I treat my film watching in general. I try not to watch trailers if I don't have to and things like that, So you can imagine that this one was a what the hell, And I feel like, of course, the less said about it, the better. But, Ben Wheatley, awesome. So cool. The supplements, I feel like, really give you a feeling for the friendship between the 2 lead actors, and it gives you a better appreciation for the performance and the whole thing. It just gives it depth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what an awesome movie. Yeah. It's if you haven't seen it, just don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Just,
don't watch a trailer. Don't read anything. Please don't go check reviews. Cause one of the worst things that you could do is hurt the feeling that this movie is going to give you. Cause you will feel quite a lot. This movie's amazing.
It definitely had me guessing up until the last act. That's for sure.
Nice. All right. Next up, Kino Lorber, September 23rd, as part of their Kino Cult line. They're putting out Dan Curtis's Late Night Mysteries from 1974. These are some made-for-TV. I think they're just called made-for-TV movies in this. I believe it's like 3 or 4 of them. Nightmare at 43 Hillcrest is getting a commentary by Amanda Reyes and Heidi Honeycutt. I think Amanda said that at least one of these other ones has a commentary, and Kino, for some reason, did not list it in the announcement, but I believe it's there. Yeah, this looks like a must for me. I love Amanda Reyes being on these releases. She's obviously the authority on the made-for-TV stuff. Is this something you're going to check out there, Blake?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love Dan Curtis, of course. Dark Shadows is a big influence when I was young. When I was a wee lad and we had 4 channels, PBS had had Doctor Who and Dark Shadows all the time. So yeah, and I love the 70s and 80s television movie vibe. He was in Kino previously put out the classic Ghosts or something like that.
Yep.
That set also, they're just like, these are mood pieces, vibes, you can just kind of hang out and they're creepy, maybe not a ton of action, if you're used to like the Italian Gutbusters or something like that, but all vibe pieces, always worth watching.
And then the other thing is these are like genuine rescues. It's kind of amazing that the made-for-TV stuff is actually being put on disc, because for years we didn't think a lot of these were ever going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. Things even like what was it? The one with the little goblin guys in the basement. Don't look in the basement or something like that.
Oh,
right? Is that?
Yeah. Please write all of the copy for every release ever, because that was amazing.
Kim Darby and the little guys in the basement. Yeah. Green light. It's a go picture.
Yes, it is. Next up, very different vibe from made-for-TV movies. September 9th, Vertical Entertainment putting out Liam Neeson in Ice Road Vengeance, which is a sequel. I don't even remember. Maybe the first one was just called Ice Road. Probably not. This guy is just kind of doing his thing. Are you a Liam Neeson guy in action movies in 2025?
I mean, I can't say that if I didn't get a couple of teeth pulled or something, I would watch this, laying on the couch. Looks kind of like something I could rock out to, but I don't know if I'd be adding this one to the shelves anytime soon.
Looks like a painkiller movie. Got it.
For sure. That's yeah.
On 4K, Kino Lorber is releasing Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth. We don't have a date yet, but they've already previously released this on Blu-ray. This will likely, knowing Kino, probably not get any new extras since they just did it on Blue. But hey, it'll get a brand new HDR, Dolby Vision Master, and there's a lot of people that love this movie. So this is a big deal for a lot of 80s kids.
And this has a stacked cast otherwise, doesn't it? Isn't it like Lance Henriksen, like a whole...
Sure is. In 91, too, peak Lance Henriksen.
This seems like it could have gotten a VSU restoration. I wonder how it escaped.
Yeah.
Like it would have looked nice next to Navy SEALs on my shelf.
Stuck with Kino since they buy 847 licenses a year. All right, next up, part of 4K Upgrade Sunday. Severin is releasing Asylum this year. So this will not be available tonight. This will go up on Sunday to get you to come back and buy some of their 4K upgrades. We got 4 of those titles that they're updating that are titles that they've released prior that are now going to 4K. Asylum is one that has a brand new interview. So this is a new Blu-ray and a new 4K disc. They're not just reusing the old Blu-ray. And I got to say, Asylum is one that has a history of looking pretty bad on Blu-ray. And I don't think Severin would be mad at me saying this. Their blue didn't even look that great. It was pretty muddled, very grainy, like very of its time sort of scan last time. They went back and they were able to get the OCN for a 4K. And this movie is a revelation.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really damn great. I will say the wraparound parts are not quite as clean as the other parts in this film.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's just based on the materials that they had, unfortunately. However, all of the shorts in this anthology look incredible. Tell me about this one, sir.
Like you said, I think I saw you talk about this somewhere online, the shimmering suit. Yes. That thing, it looks so awesome.
So good.
It finally makes sense. You know what I mean? But, you know, I am a sucker for any kind of anthology film. I mean, that's just always been my favorite. And the Amicus anthologies, for whatever reason, they're just kind of got this, you know, air. You know, they're a little like it's a little different than Hammer. You know, they're a little grittier. They tend to like get a little more into the guts. Not that Hammer shied away from it, but you know, they definitely this one works for me. It's got a lot of great stories.
It does. It's also one of those that has multiple memorable stories. I know that anthologies are very hit or miss, and this one, I mean, first of all, Christopher Lee is in one of these. You've got that little miniature doll we're going to talk about in a little while. They're doing an enamel pin of the doll at the end of this.
That pin looks amazing. And I was listening to the podcast earlier. Did I hear that it like has a hinge, like it opens up to the guts? I have to have that.
Right.
I have to have that. Like.
Yeah, if you've seen Asylum, you know what the little doll is at the end, and it's kind of a perfect thing. I feel like I have to own that pin at some point. But this movie's great. I also QC'd this one, and the restoration is just so good compared to what this used to look like. People will be very happy if they pick this up. Funny enough, back to back, the next Upgrade Sunday title is Wild Beasts. This is, like I said, another one that I was able to QC. This is from 1984, and this is, again, a quintessential Severin title. And as I wrote here, I wrote this myself, like Severin didn't tell me to write this or anything. I said the Blu-ray included with this 4K here is also a newly authored disc. The 4K was so substantial compared to the old Blu-ray that they felt like they needed to upgrade the blue for everybody as well. It is sourced from the 4K master that they use for this new 4K. And I have to admit, I've always enjoyed this movie, but seeing this with this 4K master this time was like a brand new movie.
It pops. It pops.
So good.
The colors pop.
Tell us about your history with Wild Beasts and why you like this movie.
Well, I mean, I love Prosperi. I
thought you were about to say PCP there for a moment.
No.
It goes with the film. For anybody that hasn't seen it, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it's spoiler alert, but you know, but yeah, it's a wild premise, but like you know, the Mondo Cane films, you know, all of that stuff I've been a fan of. Women of the World, Goodbye Uncle Tom, like those are just, this dude knew one mode of filmmaking, and it was excess. Like he just never relaxed for 5 minutes. And like this one was new to me because I'd only really seen the Mondo films and not really seen much that he had done on his own without Jacopetti, you know. And so seeing that, I was really blown away by it, you know. The protagonist, the hero's mustache is also so impressive. It is just,
it's so good.
It is the best mustache in Italian cinema. I mean, it's just, it rocks. And
I mean,
look at that. I mean, you know, that's the Orange Cat vibe I'm talking about.
Exactly. I do want to fix something. Adam in the comments brought up he wasn't trying to correct me, but I will notice that I said Christopher Lee because, of course, when you think about British films, you always get the two of them mixed up. Peter Cushing is the one that was in Asylum, not Christopher Lee. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Yeah, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing don't exactly look alike, but hey, it happens.
But they're like peanut butter and jelly, bro.
Usually on the same sandwich.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go to the next one. This is a 4K upgrade of The Boys Next Door, directed by Penelope Spheris, starring Maxwell Caulfield and Charlie Sheen. This one has no new extras. This is simply an upgrade to 4K. But as we'll talk about in the recommendations tonight, this is one of my favorite Severin films of all time. I've not been able to see the 4K on this one, so tell me what this one's like.
I really feel like the cinematography pops in it now. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I had, again, another one that was pretty new to me. I'd never seen it before, you know? So, a lot of these 80s kind of indie, you know, under the radar films kind of escape me, you know? There's one I'll mention later, but it's just, again, the mood, and it's based on a true story, right?
I think it's at least inspired by...
loosely, yeah.
Yes.
No, it's a great movie. It's just, you know, and kind of fits into that like At Close Range and the other film I will mention later. Like I kind of see them all in that same subgenre of gritty 80s like coming of age movies in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is very hard to explain because this movie starts with one vibe and very quickly gets to a very dark vibe.
Yeah.
But very worth a watch. Incredible performances from both of the two leads. Very akin to Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, but far less nihilistic in a weird way, because it's still very nihilistic, just somehow far less nihilistic.
It's got the 80s gloss. I feel like, Henry had no gloss. Henry was gritty as all hell. You know what I mean? But you still got has some gloss, which keeps it slightly elevated above the muck.
Yeah, I agree. Dustin had asked a question about Wild Beast. Is there real animal violence in this? And I tried to respond, and YouTube did not want to display the comment, so I will display this one. Dustin, yes, there is some animal violence in Wild Beast that happens, and also some rats were literally burned in the film, and that was not special effects. So I will warn about that for sure. But I think that was the only like animal torture by humans.
Yeah, I mean, there's the scene early on where they're like drugging the tiger is dubious because they're really drugging the tiger. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it is a product of its time.
Very much so.
And if that is something that makes you uncomfortable, by all means, I would avoid it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. I feel like anytime an animal comes on screen at all, despite the level of production, even a Hollywood film, I'm like, oh boy, this is a plot point, especially in horror films. You know what I mean? Like, as an animal lover, like I don't leave. Let's not let's not include that at all. And it is something to reconcile for sure. And if there would be one of the, if I had to say that there, and this was a planned response, I guess, in that if there was one thing that was hard to do when you QC it is films with animal violence, because having to watch that repeatedly is not fun, but
yeah. And like Brendan is saying here, I wasn't trying to downplay the word some. Yeah, like hundreds of rats are burned in this movie in one scene.
Yeah, for sure. It's not
it's a shocking scene.
Rat's Night of Terror also has a lot of that in it too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, anytime you're taking mice and dyeing them black to make them look like rats,
right.
Charcoal, whatever they're using, I don't think it's a great idea, like. Yeah,
I don't think they consented to that.
And I don't mean to laugh at it or make light of it, but it's just, of course, being in the exploitation film realm, it's something that I feel like we are mostly familiar with. And if you make a choice to not want to see that, that's your choice, and I agree with it. You know what I mean? But if you want to see it, I don't agree with editing anything out either.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it should be, retained for what it is.
That's why I love when companies give us the option. Put both on there.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like, didn't they do like a seamless branching with Cannibal Holocaust at one point, where it was like you could watch a version without, it's, and that's, something that takes a commendable amount of work for the authoring team. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. Yeah. And it's I appreciate that. It's cool.
Especially in a film like Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of other objectionable things going on there too. It isn't exactly the Sound of Music otherwise, you know what I mean? But like,
it reminds me of Steven from Unearthed Films was asked if they were going to do an animal cruelty free version of Calamity of Snakes, and he said we considered it, and then we realized the movie was going to be 12 minutes long.
That's like when you watch like Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls on YouTube and they cut out all the saucy parts. You know what I mean? So like it's like
literally just pizza.
It's like 20 minutes. Yeah.
20 minutes of people roller
skating. I thought it was a Chuck E. Cheese commercial. I don't know.
Oh, that's great. Next up, September 22nd, Blu-ray in the UK from Screenbound is Sex with the Stars from 1981. This is not one I know about. Have never seen this, and it does not look like there are any extras. Have you seen this one?
I have not. It does sound promising, though.
Very cleverly edited so that I can share this on YouTube and Instagram. I appreciate that, Screenbound. Thank you so much, unless that's the original poster art, which is very helpful. because man, I've been flagged many times for some of the cover art I've had to post.
This reminds me when I was young, like, so my mom would allow me to have things like Jane's Addiction record with nudity on it, or a Clive Barker comic with nudity in it. But when I would get it, it would have bikinis drawn on everybody. My mom would kind of like self-censor the things, like when I was younger, you know what I mean? That's what this kind of reminds me of. It's like censored. It's like drawn in here over the over the bits.
Quite cleverly. Next up, August 29th, on 4K over in Germany, Wicked Vision is releasing Spider Labyrinth on 4K. Now, usually I don't announce a lot of the Wicked Vision stuff, but obviously this movie's very special to me. On top of doing the commentary and the visual essay for it, which they did get from Severin, and I provided the original track so that these could be on here as well. The big thing is people have fallen in love with this movie over the last couple of years since Severin released it, and Wicked Vision is including the Italian language audio track, which Severin was not able to get. So this is theoretically an upgrade for somebody that wants the original language. Severin only was able to do the English dub, so this is actually going to be slightly different. And it's got some exclusive restoration stuff that they did and could look even a little bit better.
Is this like a big box? That, like, I'm trying to understand the concept photo.
The concept photo here is that you're actually able to choose just the film, or you can subscribe to an Italian cinema collection, which will get you 10 releases over the next year and a half. And they send you the box with the first one, and every time you get one, you just slide it right into the box when you get it.
That's pretty cool.
And they're talking some pretty big stuff. If you subscribe to this, did I list it here? I don't remember if I included it. If not, I should have. I did not, unfortunately. We'll come back to that one. But yeah, the titles that you're able to get are pretty big. Like, I think they are looking at The Whip and the Body, Bava, doing it in 4K, which has not happened anywhere else in the world yet. So pretty big stuff like that. So it's a pretty rad idea, I think.
I'm sure the Bava 4Ks will now start to appear across the world as I receive my box set from Shout Factory this Monday. This Monday, it just shipped, so I was on the fence with that one, but it's Bava.
And if you don't have any of them, it's a really great set.
Yeah, I have some, but not enough to justify not buying it, right? So there you go.
Yeah. And yeah, the Wicked Vision stuff, I mean, for those that have been following the channel for quite some time, I'm friends with Laurent, who has done a lot of stuff with Wicked Vision over the years, and they do really great work over in Germany. All of their stuff, even if they don't advertise it, I think I'm allowed to say, but pretty much every single title has added English subtitles, even when they're theoretically not supposed to. So you can buy from Wicked Vision, knowing that it's licensed material, which isn't always the case in Germany, that it will have English subtitles and that it will be high quality, pretty much always.
Very cool.
Going to our next one is House on the Edge of the Park is the other 4K upgrade coming from Severin on Sunday as part of their Upgrade Sunday. Another one that came out just a few years ago on Blu-ray from Severin that made a big splash. This is a big deal title. How does the 4K look on this one, sir?
I think it looks really good. I mean, this movie kind of has a lot of like, the party scenes. It's very dark in the beginning, very much benefits, I feel like, from 4K. I know there was an issue with the black levels in the past on the original release of the Blu-ray. I never thought that the Blu-ray looked bad, but like this, definitely, I think, the cinematography is very dark, and I very much feel like it helps with a lot of that. And just, I mean, it's a must-have in the Italian horror collection for sure.
Yeah, and if somebody is out there and you have not seen House on the Edge of the Park, it is a very worthwhile movie. And if looking at this slipcover is turning you off in any way, this is meant to be like a very anti-thematic slipcover. It's meant to be very different than what the actual film looks like. It's a really good piece of art, but the actual cover here, this is much more akin to the feeling that you get while watching this movie.
Yeah, I do love that artwork. But I mean, all the performances in this movie are really great. David Hess is awesome.
David Hess is amazing.
I mean, show me a bad David Hess movie, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, but Annie Bell also, who I love, is in this, and I it benefits from the upgrade. It's worth having, and all the Italian stuff, in my opinion. There's just some heavy hitters that you're like zombie, you know what I mean? Things like that that I'm always going to upgrade, and this looks great, and I would say it's worth the upgrade.
Yeah, and like Sin Syndicate saying here, Lorraine DeSalle is in this one, and Wild Beast, so you get 2 of them. And great looking release. David has his little Linnea Quigley of horror, says Sivner. That's pretty apt.
Yeah.
Especially in the 70s and 80s. Next up, over in the UK, on September 15th, Studio Canal is doing a 4K release of The Man in the White Suit as part of their Vintage Classics collection. This is a brand new 4K restoration of the movie. We've got new featurette on here, Matthew Sweet on The Man in the White Suit, and then a bunch of archival features. You've got a 64-page booklet and then a poster of the original artwork. Not one I've seen. Are you into British stuff like this?
That's not something I have seen either, no.
That makes sense. I am in the same boat, so we'll go to the next one. This title. September 9th, Blu-ray in the U.S. coming from Decal of The Ritual from this year. This is the Al Pacino and Dan Stevens Possession movie that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I still can't believe they got Al Pacino to do a Possession movie in 2025. And just based on that, even though everybody says it's bad, I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that sounds like a great performance.
So everybody in the comments, tell us how bad it is, and then we're going to say, yeah, but I'll still watch it. Oh, speaking of what is supposed to be terrible, September 9th, Blu-ray coming from Magenta Light Studios, a indie that I've never heard of doing physical media here in the U.S. of Bride Hard from this year. This played 1 week in theaters and then bombed hard. And now this Rebel Wilson leading film is coming to Blu-ray on September 9th. One of those comedies that we were talking about that are pretty rare.
Yeah. I have not seen this one.
I'm not shocked. I just talked about this one, but you can pre-order the 4K Steelbook release of I Know What You Did Last Summer, the brand new reboot that is out there. I've gotten some questions. I'm not seeing a standard 4K of this one. There is a standard Blu-ray available to pre-order and this 4K Steelbook. So it looks like Sony might be going Steelbook only. I'm going to be saying the word Steelbook like 814 times tonight. Blake, are you a Steelbook person? Do you have many?
I bought Tombstone. I buy them when it's necessary. I reserved Night of the Living Dead, of course. There's a lot of strong opinions on them online. Is there not? I feel like, I don't know, as you can see here, I front face a lot of stuff. So I'm a little less, sensitive to it. I feel like if I had to spine that, I do spine some of my collection. And I might not like it as much, but yeah, I definitely have had a lot that have come damaged, but I mean, that's depending on who you get it from. You're not getting damaged steelbooks from Diabolic or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unless the post office decides to punt your box to your door.
Yeah, true. But I mean, for the most part, I feel like the indie retailers really package things. Like when I got my Quatermass, I bought it on Amazon, and it came international in an envelope that was soaking wet when I got it. So.
An envelope that's dripping and then it barely.
But it was like $70 shipped, so I was like, all right, whatever,
Next up, I clicked the wrong thing. I apologize. Next up is another Steelbook. This is Disney's Lilo and Stitch from this year. I'll breeze through this one since Blake won't have much to say. They are doing a 4K Steelbook, no standard 4K, standard Blu-ray, and a standard DVD. This remake is not good. I did not need to watch this in a theater, and for some reason I did. I don't get it. Don't watch it. It's not great. Going to the next one. Another British film, The Wrong Arm of the Law, coming to Blu-ray from Kino on September 9th. This is a Peter Sellers film, has a brand new audio commentary by Lawrence Lerman, and then some archival extras. Peter Sellers is pretty fun. Have you seen much from Peter Sellers?
No, not really. I mean, Pink Panther when I was younger, but I'm really not familiar with his body of work,
Yeah, I've not seen too many either. Pink Panther and maybe one or two others at most, maybe. Next up, September 16th, Universal pissing a lot of people off by releasing Speak No Evil on 4K after they released it on Blu-ray. This is last year's Speak No Evil that people decided this will probably never go to 4K, and now, of course, it is. No new extras, but this will have Dolby Vision, and this is still not the original Speak No Evil, which does not even have an English-friendly HD release. Dear God, please somebody release that film. We need it. It's very good. Going to our next one, 2005's Cinderella Man got a 4K coming on September 16th. This is Russell Crowe, Renee Zellweger. This is going to have Dolby Vision, HDR10. I had never seen Cinderella Man. Is this one you got to see back in the day?
No, I have not seen this one either.
Also, somehow not surprised.
Yeah, I think that some of the rom-coms. Now, this looks interesting to me. I saw this the other day.
I like these collections that Warner Archive is doing.
Yeah,
so
that's very nice.
September 2nd, the Greta Garbo collection. We've got 4 films here, and these are pretty cheap. I mean, Warner Archive, when they come out on basically Amazon now, or unless you go to MovieZing, these are on release about $18 a pop. And these are all like old discs. Let's not give them too much praise, I guess. These are just the same old discs, just repackaged, but they're cheap. To get all 4 of these, it's $40, which that was basically the price of 2 of them on release. So that's pretty great. We've got Anna Christie from 1930. We've got Camille, we've got Ninotchka, and we've got Queen Christina. I don't have all the years listed down. I apologize, but I've heard supposedly these are all like really great top tier movies for her.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. And like I've been trying to, I have so much. I don't know, for B films, cult films. I don't have a lot of classics, and really like with the Criterion sale. Or just the last couple of things, like pick up like Maltese Falcon, things like that for like really cheap when they're like, $15, $18, because it's nice to have that collection. And the 4Ks of these things look amazing. And this is blue, but I'm sure they look amazing.
Yeah. Ronnie says, had Queen Christine on my shelf forever, but need to watch it. Corinne says Ninotchka is fantastic. Yeah, that's all I've heard, is that all 4 of these are pretty much incredible. We've got a couple more of those to talk about in just a second. But first, A24 in September releasing Materialists on Blu-ray. This is a movie from this year that wasn't terrible. I saw this in the theater. I liked it. It was nowhere near as good as Celine Song's first film, but I thought it was a good time. Good performances from everybody. This has a commentary from Celine Song. This has a featurette called The Math of Modern Dating, Making Materialists. There is a composer deep dive, and then they've been doing these postcards with all their releases, so you can look forward to that. Good movie. Excited that it's getting a good release. I know a lot of people are upset it's not 4K. Doesn't bother me. It's not something that I needed to be in 4K.
Yeah, I definitely find there's a lot of things I feel like I will settle with. I've wrestled with like Nightmare on Elm Street, upgrading to 4K, but the old Blu-ray doesn't look all that great. So maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Do I care though? Do I care? Because Beyond 3, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, 2.5 years ago, I watched all 8 of them in the theater in one day, so I'm pretty excited.
And how did you feel about the latter half of the films?
I mean, diminishing returns, sure, but the odd ones are great. 1, 3, 7, they're pretty fun.
What is the one with the girl with the bug arms when she's doing the weightlifting? It's got the Sinead O'Connor song.
Is that 5?
I like that one. I do like that one.
I don't remember which one at this point.
I got you very off topic here. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. And yeah, I do want to throw out Kevin Jenkins saying, does Pedro Pascal ever sleep? He's in everything. I realized this week that I'm going to see a movie with Pedro Pascal in it this weekend. And that's the 3rd one in like 5 weeks that I've seen him in the theater. That's brand new. That's ridiculous.
I feel like there was 90s actors that might have had that kind of, it was like Billy Bob Thornton kind of show up and everything for like a hot decade. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, but he wasn't starring in like every big film for 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And everybody's saying that movie you're looking for was part 4. It's Dream Master.
Oh, Rennie Harlan. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It does make sense. So here's one of those other Warner Archive collections. This one is the Errol Flynn collection. This one has 6 films, and yes, it is proportional. This one is $60 to pre-order right now. This one has Robin Hood, Seahawk, Santa Fe Trail, Edge of Darkness, Objective Burma, and Don Juan, or Adventures of Don Juan. Yeah, I think out of these, I've only seen Robin Hood, but
for
I've
like
wanted
$10
to
a
see.
film, though. For $10 a
Right.
film, like it's crazy. Like this is why I'm always broke, bro.
6 classics for $60. That's pretty great.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Well,
Yes,
and
this is the one I was waiting for. This one here. Look at that.
this is maybe the most exciting of them, especially if you don't have any of these movies. So another Warner Archive set on September 2nd of World Without End, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, and Them. This is a great set. I think I've seen 3 out of these 4. Them is a classic,
Them
obviously.
is just unbelievable. I have great memories of watching that on TV with my family when I was younger.
Yeah,
That is a really great film.
And again, $40 for great HD releases of these 4 movies is kind of amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm stoked on it. Over in Germany on October 23rd, you can pick up a 4K Steelbook of Child's Play, or a 4K Media Book of Child's Play, or a 4K Media Book of Child's Play. These are all coming from Cape Light, who do pretty good work. They've screwed up a couple of discs, so for something like this, they're probably using literally like the exact same material as Screen Factory, so don't expect like some sort of fixed problem type of disc or anything like that. It's probably identical. No new extras on this, but it is subtitled in English, and that is a good thing.
I like media books. I don't have any, but I always like if I get into that, then there's going to be an even greater issue than there already is. You know, I mean, shelf space has rapidly become a problem. I'm sure that most people who haven't built their own shelves can relate to that. It's like buying any kind of prefab off of Amazon recently has been really prohibitive. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, prices skyrocketing on those since the pandemic. Stuff
Absolutely.
has at least doubled for shelf space.
Yeah, and for sure, a lot of that stuff is coming from. I mean, I don't know what the situation with tariffs is, but it seems like every time I want to buy something, there's one like involved.
If I need something, they start the tariff right before
right that day. Yep.
Next up, Kino Classics on September 16th. They're putting out a Blu-ray of Madchen in Uniform from 1958. This is a milestone of queer cinema, and this is supposed to be great. I know that there was a earlier version of this, I think from the late 30s or early 40s, that it's supposed to be really great, and I'm glad this is coming out. I have not seen this version, but I've heard nothing but great things. Oh, there it is. 1931 is the original one. There it is.
I think the great thing about Kino's massive slate is that it allows them to do a lot of stuff like this and things that are like Silence. Like I worked on a big collection of Made in New Jersey.
I need that set.
Yeah, those were very cool, you know, and just that's something that I'm not sure a lot of places would take a chance on, you know, but they have the size to do that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's important. Those things are important as much as, like, you know, I need like the greatest chunkiest edition of the shot on video horror film from, you know, 2001. I also need a nice collection of Silence and things that it's just a nice you know, gotta cleanse the palate and balance things out sometimes.
Yeah, it's absolutely needed. Good call. Next up is Angry Harvest, coming as part of the Kino Classics line, also on September 16th on Blu-ray. This is from 1985 and not a movie I've ever seen, but this was nominated for the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Movie that year, and is supposedly, again, really great. This one has an audio commentary by Bilge Ebiri. If you've never heard any of the work from Bilge, some great film critique that I really want to highlight here, because this is a movie that probably needs the context, and I imagine the commentary on this is astounding.
Very cool.
Going to our next one, we've got a film called Il Dono, also known as The Gift from 2003, coming from Kino on September 23rd. This is a 4K restoration. It has a trailer on here. Not a film that I'd ever heard of, but it is one that looks really important. Definitely curious in checking this out. I wanted to read Ronnie's comment here. The Nazis tried to destroy the original match in uniform because it was a lesbian movie, but it miraculously survived. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the kind of film preservation, man, that like you could really get behind.
Exactly. As part of Kino distribution, Cohen Media Group is releasing Unicorns from 2023. This is starring Ben Hardy and Jason Patel. Has a trailer on here. I had heard that this movie was good, but again, when you don't get to see one of these in some festival runs, these get very difficult to see. So I'm glad that somebody like Cohen is putting some time and energy into releasing it, because I wanted to see this, and it sounds really great. It's the same producing team that did The Kids Are All Right and Brokeback Mountain, and it's supposed to be great.
Nice.
This is a big deal for so many people. First off, crazy cover on this release. September 30th, Kino is releasing a 4K of Yorgos Lanthimos' Dogtooth from 2009. They had this on Blu-ray for quite some time, but this got a brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master, all supervised by Yorgos, and it looks to be an incredible release. The theatrical screenings have gotten good reviews and all that. This is also going to have a booklet, which Kino does not do a ton of. There's an interview with Yorgos in that booklet that Letterboxd did. And then on the extras, on the 4K disc, there's an audio commentary with a few people on there. There is a archival commentary, and then there is a Blu-ray of special features as well. I feel like this is a must. If I remember right, I believe this is the first Yorgos film to get to 4K.
I haven't seen any of his work, so I definitely need to catch up, right?
Yeah, knowing some of the stuff that you like, I really feel like this would probably be your jam.
It's been highly recommended to me, for sure.
He makes what, on a very understated way of selling this to you, he makes weird movies.
I like weird movies.
Right? That's a must. Yeah, people need to see this. This is the most random thing I've seen from Kino in at least 12 seconds. September 30th, they're putting out the Lake Trilogy from 2019 to 2022. This is Slovenian, and it is a crime drama series based on the novels of Tadej Golob. It is in many ways Slovenia's alpine answer to the Nordic noir craze, a cinematic police procedural in a scenic winter landscape with a dark and troubled protagonist. This sounds really interesting. It's got a really great bunch of cinematography that is just not anything I get to see living in the middle of Kansas City, but
right?
Yeah. Cold murder mysteries are always fun.
Absolutely.
And what a wild poster. It's just a dude reflecting on a lake. I will take it. But yeah, he definitely looks cold out there. Going to our next one, another Kino title.
Nice.
Through Raro on September 30th, they are putting out the 44 Specialist. This is also known as Mark Strikes Again. And so, yes, this is a sequel, and they have not released the first one. Nor have they
doesn't matter.
Nor have they released the second one. I believe this is the third one in the series, which is hilarious.
Is this like Leonard Part 6?
In a way. We got an audio commentary by Rachel Nisbet on this. Glad they're putting this out. This is probably a good time to announce and share. I believe Raro has quietly canceled the last title they announced. I am trying to do some research on that, so I will share if I can find something else soon. We talked about that about a month ago, but now it has quietly disappeared from every site on the internet, so we shall see. Going to the next one, Hammer. So we spent some time talking about Quatermass. Their next 4K title is The Man in Black from 1950. Is this one that you are excited about, Blake?
Yeah, these smaller ones, the smaller Hammer special editions, like Shatter, Four-Sided Triangle, I haven't gotten any of these yet, so I haven't seen them even really in the wild. But I want every last one of them.
So these smaller ones, they are much smaller than the ones that Blake and I shared earlier. They're less than, I think, half the size of those. And this is a 2-disc release specifically. It's got a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. And just to share how much work Hammer puts into these, this has English, French, Italian, Spanish, and German subtitles. What other boutique label is doing that for their releases?
I'll tell you one thing, I wouldn't want to QC that.
Well, and if that's not enough, that you have to check in 5 different languages, 2 brand new commentaries, lots of new interviews, lots of new featurettes, visual essays, plus a giant booklet. Like, there is so much.
Yeah, they really, I mean, it's just like I go on the site and I want to buy like every last thing that they have. Like I pretty much, you know, when the Anchor Bay boutique DVD explosion started, you had a lot of Hammer films getting snapped up in that wave. You know what I mean? And that was a lot of my, you know, the VHS even. They had VHS, Dracula, Prince of Darkness. I remember doing the clamshell releases, if you remember those. And so the Hammer stuff was really like when I started collecting the stuff that I started buying first. And it was very much, it brought me back. Like, I had seen a lot of the stuff on television when I was younger, but didn't really know. You know what I mean? You'd always catch something on broadcast halfway through, you know. But all of it is just there's a lot. I mean, there's definitely a lot of Hammer films that are boring, kind of. You know what I mean? Yeah. But these aren't any of them that I've seen so far.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to say it. Because there are quite a few Hammer films that are.
There's a couple snoozers in there for sure.
Well, forgettable is probably the kindest way to say that.
I still, you know, I feel like I like to revisit things though every couple of years.
Same.
You know, and your attitudes towards things always change, you know, and things I did not like at all before are things that I like a lot now. And so, you know, maybe you think it's boring when you're a gore hound and you're just looking for Fulci movies and stuff like that, but you revisit it as an adult and it's like, oh, this is actually pretty cerebral and cool, you know. I don't know if I would have like connected something with like Quatermass Experiment like I did watching it now, you know, if I watched it when I was 17. You know?
Yeah. Well, and the reality, at least for me, I'm not trying to speak on your behalf too, but when I watch things, I just go through cycles. So sometimes on a Wednesday, I might think it's boring, but a month later, be like, oh, it's Tuesday. This movie is fantastic now.
And I always refer to it as like the QC Stockholm syndrome too. It's like sometimes I'll watch something, I'm like, I hated that. Like, damn, I hate that movie. It sucks. You know what I mean? And then, like, I go through the commentary, I go through the extras, then I watch it in Italian, and then I'm like, oh, no, it doesn't suck. I just didn't understand it at all the first time, or I didn't have the context to necessarily get what I was looking at, you know? And I think, you know, not everybody, I don't know if I would, if I had the time, if I was just watching stuff for fun, to be like, yeah, I'm going to fully explore this movie I hate. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, sometimes when you do it for work, it can be a very positive experience. Because I feel like, well, I asked you before about how you rate your films on Letterboxd, and I can't remember. I was listening to a commentary once, and for work, of course, and they were talking about how on Letterboxd they always start with a 3-star rating because, like, you made a movie, you did something phenomenal and hard. You know what I mean? So yep. all of the nuance in my rating is between 3 and 5. You know what I mean? Unless I really hate it, then I'll give it a hard 1. You know what I mean? Like, and that's rare. That's rare. You know, it's rare that I really, really hate something.
Yeah, that's pretty close to exactly how I do it. And on that note, I know what you did last summer. I got a solid 3. Didn't move up even a little bit. Yeah,
whatever.
The whole QC fatigue experience with some of these is so real. I mean, not to like pause in the middle of the announcements for just a minute, but a couple months ago I shared on here that I had that giant accident basically while I was in LA where my wife and I both lost our laptops and they were ruined. And I was in the middle of QCing Asylum at the time that happened.
My God.
And so,
that is a nightmare.
I was running up against the deadline, lost my computer, and so I was in there trying to get it done. I had 2 visual essays that I was about to turn in and this QC that were all roughly at like 60% complete. And so getting back into getting it done when I was already past the deadline and I didn't want Severin pissed at me, I was working at like 1 o'clock in the morning going, nope, I got to do this. Like QC, you have to be completely 100% in. I think I watched the end of that movie. I'm not kidding, maybe like 11 times.
Yeah, and like we can get into it when you're done, but it's not work that you can force. Do you know what I mean? Because like you really have to be like 100% when you and it's really easy to get fatigued really fast, you know. And I know we talked about that, but yeah.
Yeah, if we got more time at the end, we can throw more in there about QC.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But first, we got to talk about this edgy motherfucking release. Dark Sky, as part of their Dark Sky Selects line, they're putting out a Blu-ray steelbook of Faces of Death, that movie that your brother's friend showed you in 1992 because he found it under a blanket in his best friend's van. This thing gets a brand new extra on here called Many Faces of Death, and nothing else new except for the packaging. I don't want to try to steer anybody into buying this or not buying this, but one note is I have heard that if you want all of the Faces of Death films, you may just want to wait a little bit longer and see if something were to happen in the world, because you might be hearing more about this series soon.
Yeah, I feel like I would. There's a nostalgia factor that makes me want to revisit this, but maybe one time. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about owning this thing.
Like, you know, it's of course most of it is just staged, or you know, it's like a Mondo film, an American Mondo film, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if I feel an inclination to own it. But it is a very attractive looking steelbook, though. Look at that. The inside artwork is very nice.
Very, very classic and evocative of this title. That's for sure. Let's go over some of the Severin stuff after the rest of the announcements. We're going to cover all this in just a minute, so I'm going to skip over that. Indicator put out some crazy looking titles just this morning. First one is Plot of Fear. This is getting a 4K and Blu-ray release over in the UK on October 22nd, not a US release. This is a film that's going to get a new commentary with Eugenio Orcolani and Troy Howarth. Interview with the first AD on this film. New presentation of an interview from 2013. A bunch of newly edited stuff. Eugenio Orcolani really kind of crushed the extras on both of these. He did so much. 80-page booklet with new essays. Some really good stuff. And then to go with it, they got Franco Nero in Hitchhike from 1977.
That movie's awesome. That's a great movie. I highly recommend this one.
This is the big winner of these two. Love this movie. This is also 4K and Blu-ray, also coming in the UK only, also on October 22nd. Lots of new extras from Eugenio again. Some really great looking stuff. Tell the world about Hitchhike.
Yeah, I will be snapping this one up. It is. I feel like it's a good double feature with the Bava film. What is it? Rabid Dogs, or it has another name too?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the
Kidnapped or something like that. Yeah, I like this as a double feature. Very kind of cool Italian road movie with little David Hess sprinkled in here, right? Isn't he in this one?
He is in this one. Yes. Yeah.
So he's always, as we discussed earlier, just on 11. That guy, a different breed, dude.
This is a pretty big deal. This is going to look incredible. Franco Nero just being amazing in this movie. Also, it's a Morricone soundtrack. You pretty much have to have it at that point. So, I think this is a beautiful piece of cover art too.
All of their stuff. I'm a big Jean Rollin guy, and I have all of the Indicator stuff that they've put out so far, and just gorgeous special editions. I've bought those films so many times now. I bought them on Laserdisc and the original DVDs, and then again on Blu-ray. I finally had finished the collection from Kino when these ones started getting announced. But you want to talk about 4K upgrades that like are just completely a world beyond the old scans.
Yeah,
they are. The Rollin stuff, I mean, I thought I was a fan before, and I know now it's gorgeous. Like, they just pop.
Yeah, they look incredible, and then not to mention, not to just harp on packaging, but I am a huge fan, and I happen to have not that I play on this, Sibner. You don't need to comment on that. I happen to have an indicator one right here. This is Carnal Knowledge that they just did on 4K over in the UK, and this is a hard box release. But
Wow.
look at this. It is a thin packaging, and it's got the disc and it's got a booklet all in this hyper thin but extra like fancy packaging to show that this is a prestige title. We're giving it just something special, and it's essentially like barely over the size of a Blu-ray, and it's a hard box release. Like, this is the way to do something like this. I love this.
Yeah, they do really nice work. The booklets included with these two are phenomenal.
Oh man, this is hilarious. And yeah, just like Wave said, their boxes don't take up the entire shelf. It's great. Everybody needs to adopt that packaging. It is probably my favorite.
I do have one gripe though. One of them, I can't remember. I can't see it from here, but the one of the Relin titles, maybe two, is taller than all the other ones.
Yeah, I think they were still getting used to it, and they were not quite right.
Like, bro, like, it drives me crazy.
Just saw off the top, Blake.
Oh yeah, let's shave a little off the top. That'll be fine.
October 7th in the US, we are getting a 4K steelbook of Dangerous Animals that just came out this year. This is from IFC and Shudder working together. This is the movie that they marketed as a shark attack film that has 0 shark attacks. I enjoyed it. A lot of people hate this movie, but I thought it was pretty fun. This is another one of those that's not a good movie, but I had a good time with it.
I feel like there's a lot of animal attack films going on right now.
For some reason, I'm getting the shark feeling.
Yeah, Shark Week.
It's not Shark Week. Let's not go down that path. August 19th, Sony, as part of the Sony Pictures Classics line, they are putting out The House of Sand from 2005. Not one I've seen, but it stars Fernanda Torres, and this is supposedly incredible. One that I had multiple people message me about today, and it sounds like I need to pick this up because it sounds amazing. Were you able to see this one ever?
I have not seen it, no.
For everybody that can see this on Facebook, Jeremy is a friend. It is not my birthday. He always does this. Thank you, Jeremy. Moving right along. Turbine over in Germany, keeping the 3D dream alive. On August 14th, they are releasing a 3-pack of 3D tiles new to Blu-ray. So we've got Fast and Furious 10 or Fast X, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and then Trolls Band Together. All of these on 4K, or not 4K, 3D for the first time anywhere in the world. They are region-free discs, and they are super high quality. Turbine does really great work on these. And if you're just like wanting to keep your 3D dreams alive at home, they do a really affordable bundle on these. So if you want all 3, or if you're saying, hey, I want 2 of these and maybe I could do the 3rd, you just kind of get all 3, and it's cheap, and it's not a bad deal.
Nice. I did see Puss in Boots.
That's a great movie. Did you like it?
Of course, dude.
Fucking amazing.
You got an orange cat protagonist? Of course I'm going to like that movie.
Next up is The Island. This is from 1985, getting a Blu-ray release from Eureka in the UK on October 13th, North America on October 14th. This says it is perhaps the most accomplished genre picture directed by British-Chinese filmmaker Po Chi Long, which I've heard is an incredible movie. Very curious to check this one out. Looks like a lot of fun.
I had this in my cart earlier today, and
it's in mine right now.
It sounds so good. It's like Texas Chainsaw or something like that they compare it to.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I need to check out.
And it's really economical. I had that, and I think Diabolical Dr. Z in my cart. And it was like $50 shipped for the 2 of them, which really is not bad.
Well, and keep in mind, Eureka, free worldwide shipping if you order direct, which is
that's what I'm saying. That's a crazy deal. Like, I mean, they're a little more expensive even just to order them domestically.
Yeah, not bad, especially if you only want one. Somehow, still free shipping, no threshold, free shipping.
Okay,
how do you argue with that?
The thing that was holding me up was I have Diabolical Dr. Z on another disc, so knowing that, I might just order this guy then.
I will say we're about to cover Diabolical Dr. Z in like 12 seconds, but there
Awesome.
is something on that disc that it might entice me at least. So I'm keeping
Nice.
an eye on it. The Island has a new commentary with Frank Jang and a new commentary with Mike Leader and Arna Venema. There's an interview with the director from 2023. This sounds like a really great, fun release. But Diabolical Dr. Z is going to be after this one. I forgot this one was here. October 13th, Blu-ray in the UK of The Ambulance, Larry Cohen's 1990 really fun movie with Eric Roberts and James Earl Jones that everybody should see at least once, if not 17 times, because it's that good. New commentary by Steve Mitchell, archival commentary with Larry Cohen, moderated by Steve Mitchell. There is a new visual essay on The Ambulance and medical horror by Murray Leader. New interview with the writer Michael Doyle, and this is great. Have you ever seen The Ambulance?
I have not, but Eric Roberts and Larry Cohen sounds like a oh wait, no, I feel like I did see this. This was a HBO or Cinemax, like
Played
a
a
regular.
lot on
Yeah,
HBO.
dude, I did see this one. Yeah, this is a good one for sure.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
But now,
Eric Roberts is always a lot of fun.
Diabolical Dr. Z, coming out in the UK on Blu-ray on October 20th. The Jess Franco film from 1966, Eureka, going all in on the Jess Franco titles. This one on the disc, we have a commentary by Tim Lucas. We also have a new discussion of European Gothic horror in the 1960s, the Xavier Aldana Reyes. There's a new visual essay on mad science in Gothic horror from Mary Shelley to Jess Franco by Sam Deegan. And that is going to be a blast to watch.
That sounds awesome. I'm a big fan of the essays these days, the visual essays and things like that. There's like a very nice, concise way to get your perspective and voice heard out there. You know, it's just like rather than perhaps a full commentary or I know that like I myself am trying to get more into reading booklets and liner notes because there's just so much information in there, you know.
Right.
But the visual essay is a great way to get that across.
I agree fully. Over in Germany on November 5th, you can get a 4K Steelbook of The Silence of the Lambs, or a 4K Media Book of The Silence of the Lambs, or a 4K Media Book of The Silence of the Lambs. Yes, for the record, that is the second time I've been able to do that in the last 20 minutes. This is also coming from Cape Light over there. No new extras. This is likely the Arrow restoration, so it's probably going to look great. This is primarily if you didn't get the Arrow 4K limited edition and you're like, man, I've always wanted this in a steelbook with a completely different language than I speak on the cover, or I really like the media book art and I really want a booklet attached to a film that I can't read in German. This is a great option for you. Another German title. Oh, so many of those this week. Play on October 22nd is releasing a 4K media book of Argento's Phantom of the Opera from 1990. This is not the cover art. This is just one of the posters that was used on the film. But this is pretty widely regarded as the worst Argento film. Have you seen this?
Yeah, it is. It is most certainly the beginning of where it starts to get not great. Now, I know there's some highlights in there, Sleepless. I feel like things like that. But this is where I started to drop off as a fan, I think. You know, again, maybe this is something that if I revisit it now, I might have a better appreciation for what it is.
Right.
But, you know, I remember it was looking really bad. Like maybe that was just the DVD release at the time. But maybe I just feel like there's a lot of like subpar cinematography, I feel like, in a lot of the later Argento films. And I don't know if that's just a product of like that era of straight to video. Like even like Trauma is a little, like,
yeah.
And then if you're used to the Garris lighting and the Argento style of course, his younger years, you're not gonna. It's like what, but you just, I feel like you see that in general with kind of Italian films as they kind of get into that mid to later 80s period. Things get, or early 90s, things get very drab.
Right. So in the comments, Wave is saying a terrible Argento film and VS isn't releasing it. I guess there's always time for them to put it out. So here's the joke. We found out during Subscriber Week just this month that in the second half of 2025, Vinegar Syndrome is releasing a 4K of an Argento film. I would not be surprised in any way if it was this Phantom of the Opera. considering we've not heard anything about this being upgraded. This was released previously by Scorpion, so this is probably able to be licensed in the US because that was at least 5 years ago. So theoretically, that could be the one that we're seeing coming at the end of the year. There's also the quite high chance that it is the card player. That would not surprise me in any way. Or not the card player. Sorry, that just happened. Sleepless. That's the other one I was thinking of. Sleepless. I for some reason think.
Are they all like the same production company? Like, because they're kind of similar era, right?
Yeah, similar era. I believe they all have historically been licensed like in a bundle. If you're going to get one, you're going to get all of them. So it would not surprise me.
For sure.
All right. Only a few things left. Like I said, we'll come back to the Severin stuff. September 23rd, Kino putting out French Without Tears from 1940. This is a Ray Milland film. This has a new audio commentary by Gary Garani. I'm assuming this is not a family classic that you've seen 72 times.
No, it is not.
Yeah, same here. Had never heard of this before this week, and I don't know anything about it. So we'll talk about that later. We got a replacement program that probably isn't going to affect too many of you, but Warner Archive is having some trouble with their High Society release. If you remember, we already talked about the fact that many of these went out without slipcovers, and they were like, hey, we're so sorry. If you want a slipcover, even if you didn't buy it, email us and we'll send you a slipcover, which, for the record, nobody's gotten a slipcover yet that I know of. So, hey, Warner Archive, you should probably send those. But also, they have found that one of the batches of the discs was pausing and skipping at 17 minutes and 47 seconds. So if your copy does that, you will need to email discservices@alliedvon.com. If yours does not do that, you should not email them just to get another copy of that 4K disc for free. So just for the record, check your release. You may want to check it out. QC, how does that work, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff I feel like that I've been seeing recently. I mean, there are definitely things that I've seen that have happened on the end that would have been things, that we would have caught. But mostly I'm seeing stuff that's like replication and like stuff that's happening at the manufacturing end, I feel like at least with I mean, Severin, there's several layers of us watching things, and we have Todd, our fearless QC leader, who really has like the eagle eye, and working with him has been such a learning experience. That dude is like on it, you know what I mean? But there's a couple of us watching everything, and I mean, I know a lot of the smaller labels, I've kind of like stepped in to help them with things sometimes, and they're working with like really short turnaround times. Like I got asked to do something today, and they're like, can we have it like tomorrow? Like, no, like, you know what I mean? But I could definitely get it as fast as I can, but that's like I said, I feel like, and really, I feel like it's important to say I only speak for myself. I'm freelance, you know what I mean? I don't represent any companies and things like that, but it just seems like the majority of things happen, that I've been seeing. There's definitely been one or two things that I've seen that, that might have or should have been caught on the other end. But there's just things that are so hard too, you know what I mean? Like it's just, you see how you could watch something 1,000 times and then on the 1,001st time find something new. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Considering I watched the second half of Asylum 11 times. Yeah.
And really it is like trying to identify deal breakers, or disc breakers. I mean, that's constantly what I'm trying to do is break the disc. When I get it at the point that I get disc emulation phase, I am trying to break it. You know what I mean? Like I am just like, going through everything, stopping it, going back, pop up menu, this, that, back out. You know what I mean? Like, and you will break them sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, so that's
The QC stuff is not able to be overstated enough how much work goes into some of these. I mean, we're talking the entire disc being looked through for some of these companies like upwards of 30 plus times with different people on different setups with different TVs, different players, checking for different things.
it's impossible to like, create every scenario. Like I'm a
Right.
video game guy too, I love video games and things like Bethesda games, which are so complex but always broken, and those,
Right.
those things can be fixed, kind of after the fact. You can't really fix a disc after the fact unless it's like a replacement program, which gets prohibitive. And it's great. I see so much in the boutiques where they're really, for the most part, on it. Like, whereas a major, it's like some things that never got fixed. You know what I mean? And as I've tried to go through and sell off things like Blu-rays and DVDs, older releases, you find out like, oh well, this had a flaw, and if you didn't get the replacement disc, then like I can't sell that to somebody. I can't knowingly now, you know what I mean? Like sell a flawed disc to somebody.
That is true. We got one more that is not Severin, and then we will get into the Severin stuff. On September 30th, Neon and Decal are working together to put out a 4K of the life of Chuck from this year. This will also get a Blu-ray release. This is a Stephen King story that was made into a film by Mike Flanagan, starring Tom Hiddleston, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, Jacob Tremblay, Mark Hamill, bunch of other faces that you recognize. This is one of my favorite films of the year. This movie was profound. Loved this movie. Audio commentary from Flanagan on the disc. We've got a making of featurette, exclusive on-set interviews with a bunch of the actors, trailers, teasers, and they say and more, which sounds great. This is absolutely an astounding movie, and if you missed it, because it was easy to miss it, you should try to make time to watch this movie. It is glorious.
I heard you talking about the cinematography and stuff in it the other day, I believe, on one of your pods, and some of the shots that he gets away with and stuff in it is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he does stuff that I've never seen somebody try to do in a movie, and it's just, I don't know, it's one of those movies that you watch, and at least for me, I watched and felt like in awe, and not just like, oh, this is a beautiful shot, I'm amazed that they could do this. Like one of those where it actually made me feel like small in the universe while watching it.
Yeah,
which
I like that.
I loved. I had a great time with it. All right, so that is it for this week. Really quickly, in case you have forgotten, here's what is coming out next week. We've got some big ones. Going to skip over some of the VS stuff since most people have had those shipped already. We've got Ace Ventura Pet Detective 4K from Shout, Billy Madison 4K from Kino, the Thunderbolts 4K, Steelbook and Blu-ray and all that, standard and whatever, standard 4K, all that coming from Disney. To Catch a Thief 4K coming as well. The Beyond Standard 4K, which is, I believe, pretty much identical to the limited 4K, at least in terms of the discs. The packaging is a little different, I believe. That's finally getting out there and shipping. The Phoenician Scheme 4K, the new Wes Anderson, is out there. We've got They Died with Their Boots On from Warner Archive. The Jet Li collection. This is the first of that new Golden Princess titles that Shout is putting out that is going to be out there. This looks great. Cannot wait to get mine in. We've got Fade to Black 4K from Scream Factory finally releasing. Nobody is getting another 4K release. We've got Hiding Out in 4K, the John Cryer title from Kino.
I love that movie.
I've never seen it. It looks great.
Dude, that's another HBO 80s classic. It's like got this great scene where I think he's like on the run from the mob, and he's like in, kind of on his own, decides to like disguise himself as a high school student. And, it's got this scene where he's like in the office and like, what's your name? And he's looks at a can of coffee. He's like, it's Maxwell Hauser. And they just like go with it. It's like the original Kaiser Soze. It's amazing. It's totally worth a watch. That's that. And what really needs a release is Morgan Stort Is Coming Home. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
Yeah, that's another John Cryer, I believe. And he's like a gore hound obsessed with like George Romero in the film. I found it on the Internet Archives not that long ago, but that's begging for a release for sure.
Very nice. Some more Warner Archive this week. We got Knights of the Round Table and The Cobweb from 1955. Kind of really long-awaited titles. TerraVision stuff will finally be releasing over the next few days to the subscribers, and then the wholesalers. We've got Suddenly in the Dark and the other titles, Children of Violent Rome and The Devil's Sword, that people have been waiting on. Suddenly in the Dark has been the cursed title that people have been waiting on since January. finally going out. This has had multiple QC problems that we were just talking about that happened in manufacturing, and then there were some other issues. One of them, we caught it in QC, went to go fix it, and then all of the sync went out for some reason when we fixed it. So that's been a nightmare.
I mean, that's another thing too, right? There's so many moving parts that fixing one might throw everything else out.
Yep, super nightmare. Gotta love it. Curdled on 4K from Kino this week as well. Prisoner of Zenda from Warner Archive. The Castle and Blood of Fu Manchu 4K releases from Blue Underground, not Blood Underground. That's a crazy title. Arcade from Full Moon this week. We've got Terrifying Girls High School, a couple of those coming out from Discotech. Bright Leaf from Warner Archive this week. Algiers from Film Masters. Kamen Rider X from Discotech as well. Brainstorm from Warner Archive. Melinda from Warner Archive, one that I really need to pick up. 2 Weeks with Love from Warner Archive as well. The Diabolic Trilogy from Kino Lorber. We have, I think, one or two more that I wanted to bring up. Oh, yeah, Rust, the Alec Baldwin film getting its studio release this week, if you were after that one. And then, of course, all of the titles that we were talking about earlier with the Severin stuff, and then Mondo Keyhole from the Psychotronica line that I shared at the beginning. Lots of stuff coming out next week. Pretty exciting dang week. But tonight is about the Severin sale. So let me switch back to what I was going to share for our bundles, because we have not gone through all of the bundles yet. It is a lot to share. Let's go through the policies real quick. So this starts tonight. Sale will be going until 11:59 p.m. On let's see, where is Tuesday, 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday. So basically Monday night going into Tuesday, the sale will stop. In this sale, we have 10 brand new titles. 50% off of most everything Severin and Intervision, except for the stuff that's come out in the last 9 months. And then that, of course, includes the stuff that is brand new to this sale slate. 4K UHD upgrade on Sunday. Those are the 4 titles we already discussed. There will be new merch items. Saturday will be a box set sale. We'll talk about those in just a minute. There will be a bunch of merch that is on sale. There will be a bunch of titles on sale for the first time that we have not seen before, like Cemetery Man that Blake called out earlier, the Devil's Honey 4K, the Church 4K, the Sect 4K, Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker 4K, the Mad Bomber Blu-ray. Lots of titles that have come out in the last 9 months that people have wanted, and now will be on sale for the first time. This is where a lot of people are going to get a lot of bang out of their buck. Severin's box sale Saturday sale. This will be from midnight to midnight all day July 26th. The ones that are going to be on sale, all the Haunts BRs Volume 1, the Lindsay Baker Collection, Cushing Curiosities, Danza Macabre Volumes 1 through 3, The Dungeon of Andy Milligan, The Eurocrypt of Christopher Lee Volumes 1 and 2, Game of Clones, the Bruceploitation set, House of Psychotic Women, the Ray Dennis Steckler box set, the Nunsploitation set that you talked about earlier. Then we've got the Black Emmanuel box and the Lindsay Milan collection. Lots and lots of box sets going on sale. Any of those that you want to shout out before we go to the next bundle that's part of the sale?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, of course, like one of my picks for the sale, if you're going to buy anything for sure, would be my absolute favorite, The Sensual World of Black Emmanuel. I mean,
go into it. Tell us about it.
This set is just, it was when I started working with Andrew, I feel like I would ask about this all the time. Like, when are we doing Black Emmanuel? When are we doing Black Emmanuel? You know, and then finally, you know, I started to work on some of the titles and see a lot of the stuff I had never seen, you know. First of all, I mean, the book in this thing, look at this. All right. I mean, that is just, that in itself, you got a little rundown of the films. There's all kinds of like essays. And the thing that I like about this, these films kind of would have been lost, I feel like, if it weren't for a serious, critical, feminist reevaluation of the films themselves, because it would be so easy to dismiss them as just exploitation films. And there's so much more going on there, you know, and appreciating, you know, Laura Gemser as like the female James Bond, like of the time. Like they're like travelogue films. Like you can watch that. That is like summer vacation in a box. You will go all over the world. You know what I mean? And it's just such a, I mean, what a monumental feat to track down all of those films and find the best quality sources that you can find. And they look beautiful. You know, my pick for the 10, just the restoration on it is just mind blowing. You can just, I feel like when you're so accustomed to seeing this stuff, I either saw it on cable, you know, like through an old TV, you know, old coaxial cable like TV, or I saw a VHS tape, you know, a rental tape that had been rented 1,000 times, or later I saw, you know, third, fourth generation bootleg VHS tapes of these films, something like Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals, you know, like, which is a classic. You know, you'd always, you know, buy a bootleg of that at the conventions for years, and then you see it cleaned up and in the context of the other films. And just with all the analysis that's on there and like the commentaries, there's just so much to dive into, and you'll walk away from it. Like, I mean, I feel like Severin puts so much into the extras and so much like comprehensive material that each disc is almost like a film school in a box. Like if you really want to know something about a film or a director or a creative team, I mean, like you could probably write a doctoral thesis by going through the extras on a few of the discs, you know what I mean? And that is like no slouch. That is such a great set. It's just the design, it's heavy as hell, as you might know, sure, right? And, you know, like I noticed it was getting marks in it from being on the shelf. You're like right here because it was like front facing, so it's just because it's just so heavy. But then you got the little wheel, you know, the term. I don't know if I want to turn it too much because it's, I don't know what's going to pop up on YouTube. But yeah.
It won't pop up.
Yeah. But yeah, what a great box set. And of course, all the haunts is, you know, the folk horror stuff. Eyes of Fire alone in that set is just such a great film. And again, that box set has such a witchy vibe to it, man. You can just dive into all the extras, the short films, little animated things. There's just so much to love about it. But when it comes to box sets, like Severin really, like they nail it. You know, some of the stuff that I've worked on for them is like, I mean, Steckler was kind of coming together when I first started with them. You know, and it was just, there's so much in there, like. It's crazy. Again, you want a comprehensive director box set, you know, there's quite a few.
Yeah, and one of the easy ways to get some of those is during that box set sale. But also, if you love some other stuff, they got some crazy bundles. So this time we've got what is called the Fistful of Fins bundle. This is going to be the 4 Italian sharksploitation titles that they got. So you got the Shark Hunter, you've got Monster Shark, you got Night of the Sharks, and then you've got the Shark Book that they're putting out there. I said 4 sharksploitation. I definitely meant 3. And then you also get the slipcase that comes with it. That's the 4th thing. This is a pretty good price, I think. $116 for all 3 of these plus the book.
Yeah, and like the box is very cool. And these movies are just so much fun. I mean, Franco Nero in the blonde wig. It's just, that movie opens with like, he's just like cool and on the rocks, like being a beach bum, you know, and it's just like this totally like he's got his fishing line out, and he gets a little pull, and he goes running down, and he just like pulls up a little shark. He's just like the most casual shark hunting beach bum, because of course it's Franco Nero. You could do that, you know. And then you get Treat Williams, of course, in the Last Shark, which is also, you know, just a phenomenal action film. It's so weird to see him pop up in an Italian action film.
Yeah, I need to see that one. This is a good looking bundle. And then we talked about Kill List earlier. They've got this bundle with Kill List that has the 4K release. It's got the Kill List T-shirt and then a glow in the dark Emmanuel. I was thinking of Black Emmanuel. Enamel pin with this, and this thing $65 for a brand new 4K release and a shirt and a pin. I mean, people used to complain about Severin prices, but I feel like they're pretty good this time.
A good shirt will run you $35 most places now, plus shipping. So yeah, that's a pretty good deal. And I love the enamel pins. I have a little cork board that I put them on. They look so cool. Yeah.
And then on this this little panel that I've got here, the Baskin release is a part of the Turkish Delight bundle. This one, you get the 4K release of the film, and then this Art of Baskin book. Now, they shared a little video on this, and so a little note: if you love the world of Baskin, you need this companion book. They say features more than 140 pages of rare photos, storyboards, illustrations, behind-the-scenes production shots, cast and crew recollections, and everything else you want to know about this film. And best of all, it is autographed by the director. So for $67, this is a pretty cool deal too.
Yeah, I mean, I liked this movie a lot. This was something I had not even really heard of before I watched it, and it's a lot of fun. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I've got the Scream Factory release that they put out years ago, and I love that movie.
Yeah,
There's something psychotic about it. It loses control kind of quickly in a weird way, and you go to some weird places. It's a movie that's very difficult to actually describe because, man, there's some indescribable things that happen in that movie.
And again, it's one that like I feel like is best left like kind of, you know, if you can go into, I feel like it increases my ability to enjoy films so much more if I just go in completely blind. You know what I mean? Like I'm willing to accept it for what it is, you know, and that one in particular has some twists and turns that really were worthwhile.
Some big ones. And
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The next bundle that they have is the Just the Discs bundle. And so you get the 10 brand new releases, not the 4K upgrades, just the 10 brand new ones that are new to the sale. And that is Baskin 4K, Kill List 4K, Sisters 4K, Dead Sleep Blu-ray, Skinheads Blu-ray, Fearless Dragons Blu-ray, Ferret Vampire Blu-ray, Monster Shark Blu-ray, Shark Hunter Blu-ray, Night of the Sharks Blu-ray, and then the slipcase to catch all of those sharksploitation movies. All of these for $260. $26 a release is kind of incredible for brand new releases from Severin.
I think that's a great deal. I mean, man, like like I said, I did not see the Linda Blair film, but just about everything else that I've seen in this slate has been a lot of fun.
Well, and I can throw out there because we're featured on the discs for the Linda Blair film.
Yeah,
it's a fun movie. It's not the best Linda Blair movie, of course, but it is a crazy story that is all it is based on an actual doctor taking advantage and killing people.
I listened to they discussed it on the Severin podcast. I listened to it earlier today, and they were talking about how it's a true story. It's like, although as much as a relaxation clinic where they put you into a coma sounds very appealing to me. If I could maybe get up in 3.5 years, that would be awesome. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know if it would work out.
So the next that they have is the Everything bundle. So this gets you all of the discs. It also gets you all of the like little shirts and books and all those little trinkets that are coming with everything else. For that price, for all of these brand new things, that is quite a lot of stuff to get for sure. And then you get the 4K upgrade bundle. This is the Sunday 4K upgrades that we talked about earlier. All of these for $135. So basically, if you want every single thing that Severin is doing brand new during this sale, you need these two bundles. And yes, combine them, you're at almost $500. And that's a ton of money. I'm not taking that away. However, 14 new releases, shirts, books, enamel pins, slipcovers on most of the releases. This is a ton of stuff. Severin is kind of doing a massive slate here.
Yeah, I always love their bundles. You know, they always put together like the coolest little trinkets and stuff too. You know, and the shirts, you know, are always. I have my Steckler shirt on right now, as a matter of fact. You know,
nice. So this is a lot. We have recommendations, but we're only about 7 minutes away from the site opening. I'm going to stop sharing this. Blake, why don't you run through? You already talked about Black Emmanuel. Give us, we'll say 3 more, and then we'll see if that gets up right up to the sale time. Then we'll open up the sale, and then we'll go through the rest of our lists.
Sure. I would recommend Midnight. If you haven't seen it yet, John Russo's Midnight, you know, being a like we talked about this earlier, like the regional filmmaking, regional films, and I think this one's great. It's got John Amplas, who you know from Martin, Day of the Dead. He plays like a bad cop. You got Lawrence Tierney in here, also kind of playing like a bit of a sleaze bag, you know. But it's a great restoration. All of the extras are really cool if you're like a Romero or like Latent Image, you know, the early like Pittsburgh filmmaker crew fan. I think there's a lot of stuff there to dive into. It's a great disc, and definitely, you know, one to pick up on the sale.
And it's one that's been there for a long time, so it will absolutely be on sale. It will probably be pretty damn cheap too. That's one that's been.
It's older for sure, yeah.
Like 2019, something like.
Yeah, I made sure one of my picks. Of course, Jess Franco's Thong Girls, which is probably one of the best movies I've seen in a long time, is not going to be on sale today. So I made sure that everything else is going to be, and we'll have to save that one for another discussion.
Well, even then, Thong Girls I think it was only like $22 on the site when it came out.
It is the best Jess Franco movie. I mean, like, it is just so much fun.
And on top of that, I think on Amazon, it was only going for like 18 for a while. So if you can't wait for a sale, that's basically a sale price.
Yeah, if you're a Franco fan, you need that one. I mean, it's tonally so different than what I'm used to for Franco, but also kind of like ahead of its time. And like when like a lot of the subject matter in it, I think is like very relevant now, more so maybe than it was, or this, you know, more easy to talk about. I think it's definitely could find an audience.
Yeah, Franco is Franco, and obviously he gets a lot of releases, but he is, I don't know, he's done so many different things. So we'll see who gets grabbed by what. What's your next one?
I love Gwendolyn. Have you ever seen Gwendolyn?
Yeah, Gwendolyn is good.
This is also by the director of The White Emmanuel, whose name I will never believe. Because of course my brain does not want to ever pronounce it like it's supposed to be. Used Yakin, you know what I mean? But this one, you got Brett Huff, right? You know, he's amazing in this, and just it's every set piece is kind of like, you know how White Emmanuel very much is like because Used Yakin was like a photographer, so he's got very great mise en scène, and this movie in particular is just very like kind of gaudy, you know what I mean? Definitely ridiculous, over the top. Like, I'm not even sure what it's about sometimes, you know what I mean? But what a great watch, man. That movie is just so much fun.
I am kind of shocked they have not upgraded that one to 4K yet. This is another one of those that's like a quintessential Severin title.
It definitely feels like it. You know, the Brett Huff one-liners throughout it too are just like amazing.
Yeah, if you were making a list of like, when I think of Severin, I think of these 10 titles. I feel like Gwendolyn kind of has to be on there because it was a foundational one for them.
For sure.
All right, let's do one more, and then I will share one of mine after that.
Cool. Staying in that vein, kind of, I would do Massacre in Dinosaur Valley. This one has it all. It's got a little Indiana Jones. It's got a little cannibals. It's got a little plane crash that's clearly like just kind of rolling a camera around in an office space with fake windows, and they're like putting it up against the trees. Like, it's just, and Michael Sopkeef also is just another quintessential Severin staple actor, you know, from After the Fall of New York. He's kind of Brett Huffish, you know, the quipping American guy who's not quite sure why he's there, but he's just gonna wisecrack his way through it.
It's a good choice. This is a fun one. I've not watched this one, I think, since it came out, and I gotta be honest, I don't remember a lot of this movie. I need to see it though. Again, the one I'm going to shout out, which we talked about just a minute ago, before I talk about another full title, because we kind of already mentioned this. Spider Labyrinth will absolutely be on sale, and yes, I'm on the disc with Will. But if you've never seen it, forget me being on the disc. This movie is amazing. It is essentially a just weird setting over in Budapest, and we've got an individual that's gone over there from the U.S. to investigate some things, and things just start to get a little weird. The townspeople are starting to be out of place, and suddenly it is a just special effects masterpiece of an ending that I love so much.
The last couple minutes of that movie, you'll have your jaw hanging off of your face.
It is such a climactic moment.
And like that's a film that I had not heard of before, and like I considered myself fairly well versed in the European and Italian stuff, and like all right, what's this all about? But boy, yeah, that's a payoff, buddy.
The other one, to go a little depressing after that, this is a title that Severin's had, God, way longer than 2019. I think it was like a 2017 title. This is the documentary "The Killing of America." This is a documentary from I think it's 81, and it's essentially about like gun control and how we've sensationalized violence in a lot of things. And it's a really, really great narrative on here. Sibner is saying the site is live, so I will refresh. Here we go. So I'm going to check out some of this and show everybody some sales prices. But while I finish that, we'll talk about Killing of America, because it is a really great movie, a good documentary, one that is important and sadly still incredibly relevant. Man, this is their 75% off section.
Wow, look at this, man. There's some great stuff in here.
$6 and $7 on.
First of all, if you don't have Overboard, $4.99. Now is your chance. I mean, I would snap that up in a heartbeat. It's
with
such a great
slip cover too.
With a slip cover, okay? Like, this is the best movie. Like, it's phenomenal. I don't know if it translates into today's environment, but man, it's another staple HBO movie. I believe I saw that one in the theaters.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's definitely a little. Some of the storylines in 2025 aren't perfect, but you'll still appreciate it
for sure.
Some other really good things in here that are. I mean, all of these are under $10.
The Chris Lee stuff, Castle of the Living Dead, Crypt of the Vampire would be a must-have for me. Endgame, Joe D'Amato's Endgame, awesome post-apocalyptic film.
Massacre in Dinosaur Valley that you just shouted out, $7.
Yeah. You will not spend a better $7 today, I promise you.
But they do have Gwendolyn also for $7.50, another one that you just shouted out.
Nice.
Peanut Butter Solution, I think, is really great. That's one of their Severin Kids titles.
So it's really funny. That's when I work at a bar a couple days a week, and I tell the guys what I do, and they're like, mostly met with blank stares. And then not recently, but when I had started working there, I mentioned one of the guys I worked on the Peanut Butter Solution, and he was awestruck. I had to get him a copy. It's like, he watched it with his son, which really was, to me, like the best part about it, like exposing a new generation to the Peanut Butter Solution. But yes, $7.50. Gwendolyn, you got the Mondo films here, also really cool. I like the Jane Mansfield one, can't beat that.
A weird one for everybody. Saint Bernard. Have you seen Saint Bernard yet, Blake?
No, I have not.
So Saint Bernard is a crazy exercise in practical effects. Gabe Bartolos directed, and it is a guy dragging around a Saint Bernard head for the entire film with some crazy stuff. Just the setting of this film is wild. It is absolutely worth the watch. Very philosophical movie. I love that movie.
Nice.
Man, some crazy prices on these.
Jack the Ripper, $6.25.
$6.25. The old UK release of Baskin for $7.50. If you don't want the 4K upgrade.
Shocking Dark, I would also highly recommend.
Shocking Dark is great. Future Shock, the story 2000 AD is a must. Birdemic at $7.50. There you go. There's The Killing of America for $7.50. Man, I love the trailer compilations that so many of these companies have put out. That's Sexploitation and Kung Fu Trailers of Fury. People need those.
Yeah, when I went to David's premiere of the Clones of Bruce at Tribeca 2 or 3 years ago, they were giving away copies of that like in the little goodie bag, and I do love trailer collections. There is a cat here, in case you're seeing tail occasionally pop up. Yeah.
I got to be honest. Looking at the brand new releases here, Blu-rays without slipcovers, $21. That is a very fair price for a brand new Blu-ray from Severin. Something with a slipcase, like Ferret Vampire, $27. That's not a bad deal at all.
That movie is very cool for anybody who has been like me and had not heard of it prior. I think it's it's got a little political commentary in there, but you can just watch it kind of for what it is, and it's kind of just a weird addition to the vampire films. Very cool car in it too. A lot of history of the car. I guess it's like a legendary car in Czechoslovakia.
I mean, it looks pretty amazing. The slipcover on that looks great too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love the artwork they did for that.
Yeah, so now all that stuff is the main titles there are listed at the front, and then you've got the sales stuff, which we should be able to go through and look at pretty much everything else that's a catalog title. We'll need to go to like the second page here to get to some of the cheaper stuff, but gosh, here's like Thong Girls, $20, not on sale, but even on sale, it's only going to be 15.
Yeah, 20 is not bad at all. You will not regret that purchase.
Moving down, we should be approaching. Okay, so this is where stuff starts getting on sale here. So we've got like the Creature, $15. Dog Called Vengeance, $15. The Dario Argento Deep Cuts is $27.50. I might need to get on that.
Yeah, there's a couple of great episodes. A lot of that Italian TV stuff that has been surfacing is really worth watching. And I feel like, I'm a sucker for Lamberto Bava. There's just some kind of vibe to his movie. It's like kind of cheesy once he gets past demons and stuff, but like they're just like a comfortable sweatshirt. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And that's how I felt about these. Like, they were a lot of fun. I think it was Eyewitness that I watched that I liked the most, but The Prince of Terror is just like, it's a trip as well. It's got a killer ending.
Yeah, I have not seen any of them, and I've heard that it's actually a really good release. And I love Argento, so I definitely want to see it.
Yeah, the Argento Deep Cuts with The Door into Darkness has just got some really cool stuff on there. And then there's all kinds of really like shorts that he did like on other shows, and a lot of that was new to me. So definitely check that out if you get a chance, and especially if you're an Argento completist.
Yeah. The Mad Bomber, is that one that you saw and QC'd there, Blake?
Yeah, I did watch that one. It's different. That one feels kind of like something weirdy to me, kind of, very like exploitative. It's got like a lot of gore in the explosion scenes. It seems like it was maybe they're trying to do a topical thing, like who is in that? There's like Joe Don Baker or somebody's in that, right? Like crazy, like 70s stalwart, Pull
this up in another tab. Chuck Connors, that's
the guy. Yeah. So I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, but it's not going to be something that wins you over if you're not into the vibe of like the 70s kind of like. I don't know who would be watching this that might not be into that though. Like it's definitely fun and worth watching, and it's got a great explosive ending.
Reminder that this is not a sale price, but this is usually hard to get unless you're at a convention. They've got the Four Flies on Gray Velvet 4K release up, $55. Solid release. Again, it's pricey compared to the other stuff we were just talking about, but it is a wonderful release of this movie.
I loved the restoration on this one. I had this was really hard to track down in the early days. I feel like Four Flies and Cat o' Nine Tails were always kind of the ones that the outliers, but this one in particular. And I really like the crazy music. Kind of starts out with like a very like frantic like drumming music and stuff. It's just you could see Argento cutting his teeth. I feel like for what's to come.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great restoration. Absolutely worth watching. One that I have still not seen the full movie of, but when Severin announced it, I went and found a version to watch, and it looked really, really intriguing. What is The Red Light Bandit all about? Did you see that one?
I did. Now that's like a Brazilian, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like it reminded me a bit of like a stream of consciousness type filmmaking. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, hallucinatory and amazing manifesto. So it's like, it's. I'm trying to. It's very avant-garde. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to just describe what it's about, but it's definitely very arty and very political.
It looks good. It really does.
I mean, for 1748, hell yeah.
That's a great price for that.
Yeah, it's got the short films on there too. I actually do remember the short films. Yeah, those are very cool. There's 3 different ones
that had shorts. Nice.
Yeah, so that's got some cool stuff on it.
I have to ask if they're here from your friends list, because I'm not on the East Coast. Is it actually your birthday on Friday the 25th here, Blake?
No.
Okay, good. So they're just doing the Jeremy thing like I got earlier. Perfect.
It's in November.
Amazing. Okay, so we talked about Roughies earlier. Hotspur is definitely one that people should get.
Hell yeah. Hotspur and Scavengers.
Right next to each other.
The commentary that Andrew and Joe Rubin do on both of those is just that's worth the price of admission alone. When I saw Lisa from Something Weird, she asked what I was up to these days, and I told her about working QC and doing work with Severin. She had the pickup. I'm like, oh, you didn't bring Scavengers and Hotspur? She's like, yeah, no, I kind of left those ones. I didn't know if they were a little too much to bring to a family-friendly environment. But the commentaries on those are so much fun.
Yeah. We are looking through Blu-rays only right now, but I'm going to switch over to 4K in just a second. I wanted to go down to this title right here. So Closed Circuit, I think I've been ringing the bell a lot.
That's my number 2 pick for today. Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, just in case you have never seen Closed Circuit is a secret masterpiece in Severin's catalog that so many people have still not seen, and it is stupendous. Incredible story. All takes place in a movie theater, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful premise.
What a cast of characters in that, too. Like, as they go through an interview, it's like each person gets their time to shine as their own little weirdo, unique character. And there's definitely, like, you can't tell me that they didn't see that when they wrote Demons. I don't care what anybody says. Okay. Like, there's so much Demons vibe to that movie that, like, it just had to be. But the ending is just another one is best to not know too much about.
Yeah, that is true. So here we are with the 4Ks. The first one that we got in this list that's on sale here is the Opera 5-disc. This is the set that is massive and incredible. Opera is, theoretically, I still call it my favorite Argento. I love this movie, and this 4K is beautiful. Just amazing.
Yep, a tremendous, tremendous amount of work. I feel like this group of titles had a lot going on.
Yeah. 2020 Texas Gladiators on sale for the first time. Castle of Blood 4K on sale for the first time.
I had Texas Gladiators as a pick for tonight. I would highly recommend that one as well. Al Cliver, I feel like Zombie. The mustachioed ginger man who shows up in a lot of Fulci and other assorted Italian films. Joe D'Amato, he gets his chance to shine as the lead in this one. And it's like, if you like Fallout and those kind of things, it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic vibe, but kind of like a spaghetti Western. I don't know, man. Highly recommend that as well. And anytime you're going to get the soundtrack in there to this Italian stuff, it's like, you got to jump on that.
Yeah, I actually listen to these CDs, and it's so nice to have some of these in high quality, like proper recordings. It's a godsend. Severin does great stuff on that.
I'm sure it's no surprise that, like, I'm a big vinyl guy and I listen to a lot of vinyl.
What?
But, yeah, right. Like CDs, especially, I've kind of gotten back into, and like, because I like to, I do a lot of streaming, but I like the being, listening to one album at a time. Whereas with streaming, you drift off and you don't listen. You just kind of just continue. Vinyl, it forces you to like refocus your attention every time you flip the record, but I don't always have that kind of time if I'm cleaning the kitchen or something. But if I still want to do that, a CD, and they sound so good, put them across my 5.1 system, they sound great, like.
This is going to be ridiculous, but just was it 2 days ago? I think I finally remembered a password for a hard drive that I had from years ago, from all of these CDs that I had collected for years, and was able to get into it to load it into my current hard drives, and found out it was 450 gigabytes of like my entire life in music, and I'm so stoked just to go through everything again.
It's awesome. Like, I was definitely like on this LimeWire phase or whatever you want to call it, where I was just like, for a while, kind of, and that's one thing, physical media collecting has its ebbs and flows. I had a big VHS collection and sold it off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had a lot of DVDs and sold them off. And when I did that, it was like I hung on to all the Euro stuff and the things that I thought would be obscure and sold off, like the Jasons and the Freddys and the things that I knew would get another release, and like collecting kind of has ebbs and flows to it, And there was a while where I was like, I'm just gonna fill hard drives with stuff, but then I never watched any of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a hard drive full of stuff is not as cool as like, hey, like look at all that.
Well, and I never stopped buying CDs. My whole thing is this just became the passion that was more than music. Music used to be my number one, with movies being number two, and it's flipped, and I don't see that changing back anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, and especially as I get older, I feel like I have more of an emotional reaction to film, cinema, than an easier time connecting to new work, I should say, when it comes to film than music.
Yeah, I would agree with that there, that's for sure. I don't think I've ever seen this. Sibner is asking, is Echo and Forbidden any good? Have you seen that one, Blake?
I have not seen that one.
I think that's one of the Mondo double features that they have.
Yeah,
I think it came out around the same time as the Jane Mansfield one.
Okay, yeah, those were a little bit before me. I just got the Jane Mansfield myself, I think on one of the last sales because it was really cheap. I do like Mondo films, as we discussed before. They're kind of, but again, that's something that you can kind of haplessly wander into animal violence if you're not careful.
Right. That does happen. I am keeping my eyes on Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. I might pick that up. I might pick that one up. I've been very, very wanting it since it went for sale with them, because I remember seeing that years ago, and I need the 4K, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. I know Andrew loves that one a lot, so he was really stoked when we were working on that one.
I'll shout out The Psychic. Really great Fulci film. The 4K looks very, very good here. It is.
That's as good as that movie is ever gonna look, man.
Indeed.
I do like that later era Fulci too. It's charming, if not his best work.
Oh no, Dude McMahon is saying they've got Cruel Jaws back up.
Uh-oh.
Let me pull that up real quick. Is it with the slip, or is it just with? Okay, so it's the Blu-ray of Cruel Jaws. Nice. Yeah, this was gone for quite some time. So this is convention stock. So like Four Flies on Gray Velvet, it is not going to have the slip. It is not going to be on sale. This is just, it's hard to get, and now you can get it on Blu-ray, which is cool. I'm glad they have this opportunity back up there for some people.
Did we talk about Fearless Dragons?
I think it was mentioned, but not like in depth yet. No.
That is so fun. I mean, that if you're looking for a good time, pizza and beer kung fu movie, like that thing is just a blast.
Dude McMahon is saying Mask of Satan. Too bad it's not on sale. This one is not going to be on sale till the next sale. I believe Black Friday is the first time that will be on sale, because this one was just released last Black Friday. Some of their older 4K stuff are great titles that I would recommend as well. Nightmare looks really great on 4K.
Yeah. Yeah. Nightmare's amazing.
I saw you reaching. I was like, are we going to go into it?
No, we got a cat. That's all.
Oh, perfect. The 5 Days, another Argento. That one's on sale for that 4K. Love me the Acción Mutante, the Alex de la Iglesia titles that they've done are just incredible.
Here's one I see that I could recommend: Faceless.
Nice.
Jess Franco for people who don't like Jess Franco.
That is true.
True. And it's got an unforgettable theme song that you just cannot get out of your head, for better or for worse. I'm thinking about it right now. But it's got a lot of great gore effects in it, which I think that I can't think of a lot of Franco where it gets gory other than Bloody Moon, maybe.
Yeah.
But this one is just, and the restoration on that is just, oh my God. It's, I feel like I went to France.
Two that I can mention that are on the screen that I had in my stack. I think these are, my only 4K ones that I was going to talk about other than Spider Labyrinth. Out of the Blue, not a very common Severin title. This is kind
That
of
was
one
my
of those,
number
like,
one pick.
look at that. This is like one of their art house type of titles. This is Dennis Hopper at his absolute best. I saw this thing in the
or
theater.
worse, depending on what.
Touche. It is an incredible movie. It is a depressing, nihilistic movie at some points, but it is quite worth the watch. With a just gangbusters ending that people will love if you've never seen it before. And then their very, very first 4K is one on my list that I have to recommend. Santa Sangre is an incredible release from them. Nice little package that they put together here. This is, I think it's a 4-disc set. Yeah, 4-disc set. It's got some like art cards in here. And the restoration on this thing is just incredible. It is a Jodorowsky film through and through, but man, this was shocking when Severin first put this out, because it was a film that people were like, "Oh yeah, this is pretty good," and then they did their 4K restoration. Was, "Oh my god, this is jaw dropping."
Yeah, what a great movie. So the rest of his work really needs 4K restoration. Or did Arrow do 4K, or was that Blu-ray?
Just Blu-ray,
right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the state of the elements, are, or rights ownership. I think that was always the big thing, because it was owned by like Alan Klein, right? El Topo was like the Beatles manager guy who tended to be a bit of a bulldog.
Still owns it here in the U.S. Yeah,
he's the reason why the Verve had to hand all their royalties over to the Rolling Stones for their Sweet Symphony. The guy's a bulldog for the rights of his intellectual properties.
Yeah, that's a common thing, unfortunately, with him. It happens. I get it.
I mean, it's like Richard Rubenstein and Dawn of the Dead. It's an unfortunate. Asshole. Well, yeah. Man, I never forgave him since like the late 90s, when he sent cease and desist letters to the Dawn of the Dead fan pages. Like, I was like, I had like my first compact Presario computer, and I'm just like discovering the whole, like, you were talking about the internet third spaces the other day, and like if you lived in a small area, or you liked a certain kind of, like, I had a few friends that were into this kind of stuff, but getting into broader conversations, with people came through, going on old message boards and fan sites like that and everything. It was so much harder to obtain information about movies and stuff then. If you couldn't just pull up the IMDb for Dawn of the Dead, or it almost like things would take on like a mythical status. You would hear of them but never see them.
Yeah, and to literally pull away like one of the only resources was just the most asshole of moves.
Yeah, and so he's always been, and he's definitely not hurting for money since he produced like Dune and things like that. You know what I mean? But
right. So some of the Severin merch is on sale, not at necessarily 50% off, although some of them are 50%. Some of them are even more on sale than 50%. But I mean, shirts at just over $15 is a pretty good deal. You've got stickers for like $1.50. Hoodie for $38 for Severin is pretty good.
I love the hoodie, and I can't speak highly enough about the water bottles. There's 2 of them. I have one of them here. I love the water bottle, yeah. And the metal one is also great, but
I don't have any of the water bottles. I guess I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, I'm into the glassware, bro. I think I've got the pint glass. I think I've got the coffee mug.
I've got the little Wake and Fright pint glass.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a glassware dork.
Nice. So yeah, the opera shirt is a really nice one. I love this Severin podcast logo tee that they've got. Some really good stuff to look through here. Let's go through a couple more of your recommendations, Blake, that we haven't talked about.
Sure. I mean, for the most part, I kind of blasted through a couple in there because you mentioned them. We got Faceless, we got Texas Gladiators. I know I haven't brought it up yet. This was one of my favorite films. I love Cemetery Man. However, the QC process on this was quite rigorous, and I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. So it's an amazing set, though. And again, like I spoke of it earlier, like it looks better than the film has ever looked. It's just there's so much detail in the cinematography of that was missing from every other presentation of it before, and the 5.1 or I think it's Atmos on this one, is it not? Great sound mix.
That set also has some really great extras too that don't get praised enough. Just truly an altogether really, really wonderful set.
Yep, and I'd say otherwise Vampiros Lesbos.
That's a must.
Jess Franco fan, or if you're just getting into the Severin stuff, that is definitely one that you have to have. It's Franco. I'd say that there's two entry points there for Franco, depending on which angle you want to take in my recommendations. You got Faceless, which is a little more of a straight up like kind of exploitation. I don't want to say slasher movie, but horror movie. And then there's Vampiros Lesbos, which is just like free jazz Dracula.
Yep, and it's good. That's the big thing.
Yeah, that is the Franco film, I think, for a lot of people. I mean, for me, it brought me back listening or watching the documentary about Kim's video. That's where I had first picked up this. This is kind of how Jess Franco got on my radar. This is like a big record kind of in the 90s for like DJs and stuff. It was the Sexadelic Dance Party, and it had like I think some stuff from She Kills in Ecstasy and Vampiros Lesbos on it. And I had actually heard that long before I saw the movies, and kind of just like would stare at the cover like, this seems so cool. And then I was not disappointed when I saw it.
Craig is asking if it's possible to add more to an existing order, and yes, during the sale it is. I believe it'll give you the option at checkout. All right, give us another title there, Blake.
Oh boy, geez, let's see. Well, we went through Gwendolyn, Massacre in Dinosaur Valley. Did we talk about Voluto Nero, my pick that was out of the Black Emanuel set?
I think a little bit.
Another Al Cliver, great character actor from Italy. He's in the Texas Gladiators, Zombie, all that stuff. He plays a bit of a cult leader. It's kind of like a disaffected rich people sex vacation weird trip out movie, but like it's got a lot going on. And that's definitely, I don't know if that would get a standalone release. I know I'm sorry, what is it? The Tales, the Spanish TV series. What is
Tales to Keep You Awake?
That, if you have not seen it, I would highly recommend. It's kind of like got like a Twilight Zone vibe, or like Outer Limits.
And if I remember right, this thing is like a shocking amount of content in here.
I feel like there's a bunch of episodes, right?
Yeah, the runtime almost 1,500 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you buy it right now, it's $17.48.
I feel like I worked on that for like half a summer.
Let's see. Sib, do you think the pickup is going to sell out before it goes on sale? No, I don't even think it's limited. So no, definitely not.
I would snap up. If my personal sale approach for this one would be to snap up a lot of those cheap titles right away, because
absolutely
that is like a great way to bulk up your Severin shelves.
And some of those 750 ones are likely closer to selling out.
Or at least going out of print.
Pickup is limited to 2,000. I did not realize that. If that's the case, maybe. I don't know. It's not one that I see in a lot of like haul posts or anything.
I think the Lee Frost is a little bit of a tough sell, maybe.
Yeah, in 2025, I can see that being the case for sure.
But again, like I said with Black Emanuel, like all it takes is the right reevaluation and the right lens on these things to kind of, and appreciate cinema as a time capsule,
On that note, one that is super relevant right now, I think I'm close to coming up to it here, so I will scroll for a second to verify. There it is. One of my favorites in the entire Severin catalog is the Canadian film Siege. Have you seen Siege?
That's a cool one. That is a very cool one.
So this is a movie that starts with some people in a club that is a not great situation when they are encroached upon by people that are just looking to like pull out a planned attack on this group, and they essentially have to go hole up and keep themselves alive. And it's something sort of similar to like Assault on Precinct 13, and it's incredibly mesmerizing. The movie is really well acted. It is tense through and through. It has a really poignant ending, and the whole thing sort of stems from a period of time in Canada where some of this is based on not quite like a true story, but a real series of events that happened that learning about the history of that was kind of crazy. So definitely worth checking out.
Another one where the bonus features give you some historical context to appreciate the film a little more.
Absolutely. I still can't believe Overboard is $5.
Buy two. What a great Christmas present.
Hello, Grandma. I bought you a Blu-ray copy of Overboard you can't play, and it is probably problematic in 2025.
Well, if you loved Grandma enough, you'd buy her a Blu-ray player too.
Yes, indeed. Lots of fun stuff in their catalog starting around this time and going back that a lot of people still have not seen. Night of the Demon is the classic Severin, we're going to rip off your dick Bigfoot movie.
Don't Go in the House, also. Great movie there. I love that one.
Fantastic.
That's a Stockholm Syndrome movie. That's a movie that I thought that I hated until I started working on it, and then I discovered that I actually love it.
Dude McMahon is saying the free shipping threshold was 100, but it's wanting to charge me $10. Did they stop, or did they change that? Let me look up their policy here that we just had pulled up, because as far as I'm aware, I thought 100 was still the free shipping. I think you had to choose that.
It says select at checkout if you look at the
Is it giving you the option to get free shipping if you select something else, McMahon? Yeah, it says free media mail shipping over 100, just selected at checkout. So there should be an option there for you when you're in the process. You shouted out Midnight earlier, and then I want to shout out Cannibal Man. This is one that I had to watch a couple times to appreciate. I did not love it the first time, and then watching the second time, and after learning about all of the political context behind the Franco regime and everything, Cannibal Man is really well acted. I think people will appreciate that if they have never seen it. It's worth a watch.
I think when you're looking at a lot of the Spanish stuff as a reaction to the end or the dying throes of the Franco regime, it makes it all the more interesting.
Yeah, and it explains a lot. Some stuff that if you're watching it for the first time without context, it might seem a little nonsensical even, but finding out why the film had to do that is a completely different story.
Yeah.
I know that we're talking about sharksploitation stuff a lot because of what is in the brand new titles, but we should probably point out Deep Blood, the Joe D'Amato film, which in the Severin catalog before it did not have a lot of friends other than Cruel Jaws, and now it's got quite a few that it can hang out with. D'Amato is always wild, but this is one that if you want a fun Jaws ripoff, you should check it out. It is worth the watch. Not the best shark exploitation film, but definitely worth owning, and it's pretty cheap right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, any Joe D'Amato, in my opinion, is worth it. It's worth owning.
I would agree there.
Is the Caligula film, the Joe D'Amato Caligula film, is that one on sale? I like that one a lot too.
It is, of course.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, pull up all the D'Amato that you can and add to cart because they are.
Yeah, the 2-disc Caligula and Messalina is only $17.48 for sure. You got 2 cuts of the movie, the X-rated cut and the unrated cut, for sure worth it.
So somebody was asking about this film earlier in the chat, and I just wanted to say, if you've never seen it, Day of the Animals is one of the most fun animal attacks films that you can watch. I mean, you literally see Leslie Nielsen. Your face light up right when I said
I'll allow you to continue.
You see Leslie Nielsen like get in a boxing match couch with a bear? Like, is that the best way to say it?
Yeah, there's hands involved.
Yeah, Day of the Animals is a really interesting premise for a film. But
any of the animal, grizzly, any of the animal, wild beasts, of course, also kind of fits in that. Although that's the only one I think where they're on PCP. So
yeah, less nature, more man-made.
Yeah.
But yeah, Day of the Animals is probably my favorite of that era of the Animals Attacks films. It's a fun story. It's got actual animals that they do some crazy stuff with real animals in that movie that probably would never be allowed on a set in 2025.
No.
Yeah, good stuff. Dang, Deep Blood is only $750. That's crazy. Yeah. I spent a lot of money on Deep Blood once.
Yeah, you could definitely build a nice collection with some of these prices.
$750. It seems like the free shipping option disappears if you check out through the shop app. This happened to me recently.
Oh yeah. You could do the guest thing, right? Check out as a guest.
Yeah, I was about to give that as the recommendation, but I don't know if this is a hot take, but fuck shop. Like, yeah. I hate how much they're like controlling the checkout process on so many of these sites.
And like, I prefer to use PayPal Pay in 4, and they kind of like, unless you do the checkout as a guest, sometimes they will pigeonhole you into using the shop app, and then they give you like the bogus, like, here's $10 in cash that you can't use on anything, and if you try to, it's like the prices are different. So it's but coming from the school of, I'm gonna beg my mom for a check so I could send it out for a catalog, and when I would get that 6 weeks later, send out another check so I could get my movies, and maybe they showed up, maybe they didn't. Do you know what I mean? I guess I'll settle for shop for the shop app, where I can, like, keep an eye on where things are and get excited. Like today when I was like, oh my god, my Mario Bava set is on its way.
I want to shout out Deaf Crocodile, who just posted in the chat. I just removed the checkout with shop feature in our store. Yes, thank you. That's why you're incredible.
Nice.
Let's see some other ones. Tales of the Uncanny is definitely one that people should see if you have not seen it yet. Severin is kind of incredible at these in-house production documentaries. And this is the story of anthology horror, and it's just really well done. $15. Can't beat that. Just perfect. Let's see. Cruel Jaws back in stock, like we mentioned earlier. Some of the more classic Severin stuff popping up here. The Beast Must Die.
I love that one too.
It's so classic.
That's Amicus as well, is it not?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
If you are not one of the lucky 19 people that still have the Al Adamson box set, the Al Adamson documentary is 100% worth your time. One of the craziest stories of somebody's life that you will ever hear. Again, in-house documentaries from Severin is kind of David's forte. That's what he was doing way back in the day at Anchor Bay, and then helping with Blue Underground, and now doing it on his own. Severin is pumping out some of the best documentaries out there. I mean, look at what they're doing with the Susanna story right now.
I mean, working with these guys, David, Carl, Andrew, Todd, their passion for the movies, it's just a world different than, I worked for these guys first before everything else that I did, I probably would have had a much different experience in the industry than I did back then. These are guys that are absolutely fans first and foremost, and just you realize that I've been around this whole collecting scene for decades now, and it's a small group of people that kind of perpetuate a lot of this stuff, and it's people like you and everybody that's watching and commenting that keep the stuff alive, and it's funny how you'll when I met Bill Lustig, he was like, oh, my partner David Gregory, and years later that's somebody that I'm working for, you know what I mean? It's just kind of, you see how it's really driven by people with passion for the physical media and for the films themselves, and it's nice to see younger generations of people watching your show or getting into collecting. And like I was saying before, films that were trauma pickups that we couldn't give away, seeing them finally find an audience. Story of a Junkie that VSL put out. It was amazing. I love that movie. It was like one of my favorite pickups. And it's just when like the boutique companies being run by fans and people who are actively keeping the stuff alive, doing documentaries rather than soulless corporations. Like that's why we get stuff that's so comprehensive, and why something will get delayed so we could put an extra bonus feature on there or a CD soundtrack. That's that little stuff to go the extra mile is so huge, and that's what attracted me to Severin in the first place. Made me want to work with them, just because it just seemed like you weren't just selling me some crap, so much goes into presenting this the best possible way. And you see that when they find a new source or finally dig up a negative, they go out of their way to make a nice restoration and do it right.
Yeah, they just did that with the Franco movie, or not Franco, the Klaus Kinski Dracula. Yeah, they just did that again. It was something that we're never going to be able to find this. Let's just put this out. They did it. It was great. And then suddenly they did find it. And they went through the process of making just an incredible release out of it, which many of the labels would have just said, we can't do anything.
Sure. And it never feels like a cash grab. It always just feels like, we are doing this because we found a better source. We want to give you the best possible version,
Wanted to point out Blood on Satan's Claw. This is another one of the convention stock titles, one that you can't always get from Severin. So if this is a title that you want, you may want to prioritize that during this weekend sale.
Great movie as well.
Yeah. V, if you have never seen it or you don't have plans to pick up the first box set, All the Haunts Be Ours, because it is in that box set, V is a really wonderful movie. It has one of the most memorable final 15 minutes in a film that you will ever see. It has some of the most shocking imagery that I still can't believe how they got some of those shots in that film.
Yeah, the Eastern European stuff from that era is just it's again a whole new world to explore.
Yeah. Now you're getting into the old era of Severin. A lot of these are stuff that people that got in post-pandemic, that many people had not even seen many of these titles because these were released in 2018 and previously. Love a lot of these. Next of Kin is a really great film. Have you seen that one?
No.
Next of Kin is good. People need to check that out. Skinner, that is one that will make you feel a little creepy for sure. All the Colors of Giallo is another one of the documentaries you should check out. They also have All the Colors of the Dark. That was a sale 2-disc title, came in this little fancy dual package that they put out back in the day. What else? Anthropophagus and Absurd. I believe these said that both of these are coming in 4K eventually. I think they're working on restorations of those still. So if you're not I have to hop on 4K, these would be a good buy right now, but if not, you may want to hold off on those. The Changeling. This is another one that is a title that Severin has put out multiple releases of, and their 4K of The Changeling looks great. And this is just an amazing classic horror movie.
Probably one of the creepiest ghost stories, I feel like.
It might be my favorite ghost story.
It's so
great. Good. Yeah, it's so worth checking out. It is a great time.
The Severin coffee mug is only $7. I'd like to point out, very, very, very worth it for the Glassware fans out there.
Very nice. Some classics here like The Devil's Rain and Devil's Honey. Devil's Honey is a 4K now. Threads is one that I have recommended quite a few times. However, that one is another one that's rumored to be getting a 4K soon. So I don't know if that'll be Severin or somebody else, but you might want to check it out.
Nice. Yeah, that one. I think Diabolic posted a couple weeks ago saying that sales had gone up on it, after one of the most recent crises. I don't know if it was Iran or one of those things. That's certainly a choice, of your viewing.
Yeah, just embarrassing. More of these trailer compilations listed on this last page here. Dark Waters is another one that is that one's in the first All the Haunts, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And that one's a different disc even. So if you want everything, I think this one has different special features that are not in the box set.
Kathy's Curse, but that's the older Blu-ray.
Yeah. And that one is on 4K now. Dr. Butcher MD has a 4K now as well.
Dr. Butcher 4K would always be in my top recommendations.
The Lost Soul documentary. This is one that everybody should probably see at least once. If you're into the Island of Dr. Moreau's story, you got to check this out. And then there we go. Vampiros Lesbos and She Killed in Ecstasy. Both are, if you're getting into Severin, you probably should have both of these for sure.
Definitely must have.
That is the end of the Blu-rays. Let's go over. I'm going to look closer at some of this merch stuff. $7 coffee mug is intriguing. Jeez, that is cheap.
Yeah, I recommend. It's a nice one.
Severin shot glass. I definitely already have one of those. I don't need a flask for anything. Why do I feel compelled? Cloud Mage says The Changeling is unbelievable. One of the most shocking openings to any movie ever. Love it. Been putting off the 4K upgrade, but the sale might force my hand. Agree about Next of Kin and Changeling, says Couch Odyssey. Two good movies. What else do we got? Website exclusives. Lots of stuff going to be on sale on this one. They've got a lot of slipcover stuff that you can't get anywhere else that's on sale this time.
Nice.
Gosh, $17.50 for some of these titles that I've been wanting for a while might be forcing my hand, I got to admit. Let's see. Any other questions or recommendations from the chat? I just realized they're still selling the Kathy's Curse 4K box. I didn't know that. I might need to pick that up.
I have one. I don't think it lights up.
I'm not surprised.
I don't think it ever did. But I think that was one that I just asked for and was like, I don't care if it works. Just send me one. Like.
It was a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the old Dead Pit VHS slip back in the day, but it is a gorgeous looking cover regardless. I mean, I love the slips.
Yeah. Cloud Mage wants to ask what Gwendolyn is like. Why don't you talk about this one again there, Blake?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I won't say it's a comedy, but it's definitely funny. It's kind of, like I said, it's on par with Emmanuel, the Sylvia Crystal one, in that like it's got great mise en scène. Everything is set up perfectly, but it's just really goofy. And I guess it would be like kind of a sex comedy. It's got Tawny Katane in it. Swing, like can't go wrong there. But it's a lot of fun. It's goofy. It's not like, it's certainly not an erotic film like Emmanuel.
Definitely one of the sillier ones.
Yeah, it plays its hand goofy like right from the beginning. It kind of plays like a great value John Carpenter movie or something like that, And like I said, the protagonist is always kind of like, or Brett Huff is always kind of like doing quips, And the original title of it was like The Perils of Gwendolyn in the Land of the Yik Yak or something like that, which kind of
exactly it.
I feel like that gives you like a better idea of the vibe of the movie. It's like goofy kind of, again, I think that's Andrew's term, like the pizza and beer movies, like one of those things you want to throw on, like, hey guys, I'm gonna show you something fun, like sometimes some of this stuff I could watch gets a little grim or boring or repetitive, and something like that you could just bust on. It's a party film.
Yeah.
It's also got a great soundtrack by Pierre Bichet, who does some music for some of the Emmanuel films.
I don't think I knew that was the same composer, and now that makes perfect sense.
I think he did maybe the second, because Serge Gainsbourg does like the third, right? Something like that.
I want to shout out one that I was going to grab and forgot all about it. All About Evil is a really great watch. Some great extras on this disc too. Were you doing QC during that time?
Yeah, that was one of the first ones that I did. That was a lot of fun, and that was kind of like, like I kind of had an aversion to newer films or things that were like SOV until I started doing QC, you know, and that's kind of got like a really fun, like John Waters vibe to it almost. You can tell that they're like kind of going for that, you know, but it's not like annoying or overt in a way that like makes it less original.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Natasha Lyonne, great in it. And again,
always great.
Really great extras on that disc. Yeah. I have mentioned so many titles tonight, and I feel like there's more that I wanted to say, but yeah, what else you got, Blake?
Yeah, it's tough when you're trying to like. I mean, I would just recommend so many of them. You know, like there's so much stuff here. Castle of Blood, of course, is amazing. I don't know if it's only it is 50% off. That's a great 4K upgrade if you don't have it. Of course, I don't think we talked about the Clones of Bruce. You know, if we're going to go for the box set Sunday, or is that Sunday or Saturday? Sorry, Saturday. You know, the Clones of Bruce, if you're a fan of martial arts, I mean, you could grab Fearless Dragons and that and call it a day. You know, there's just so much and there's so much fun in that Bruce set, you know. And Kung Fu films, Asian films in general are kind of another thing that I've kind of just really started to get into through work. You know, I did a little bit of work on one of the Shaw Brothers sets, I think Shaw Brothers 3, and that was when I kind of started to like, okay, maybe I do really like this stuff and, you know, get a little more appreciation for the choreography and things like that in the films.
Yeah, I think the Bruceploitation box is the main thing on my mind for this sale for sure. I for some reason been holding off, and now it's time.
Yep. Don't wait any longer, bro.
I mean, yeah, it'll be $100, and for those that have been like on the fence on that price, don't forget that the Severin store release has a full extra disc that the wide release does not have for that title.
Nice.
So these are some of the newer ones that we haven't spent a lot of time on, but keep in mind some of these bundles are limited. So like the Everything bundle is limited to only 50. The Turkish Delight bundle is only to 150. So if you're after like that art book, you might want to jump on those sooner than later. I bet that the Everything bundle will probably sell out in like the next 12 hours. It pretty much always does. And then the Turkish Delight bundle, Baskin is kind of like a low-key pretty big movie. I think a lot of people love that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would definitely check it out.
While we're just scrolling through some of these things, let's go through the QC process some more, because for those that don't understand, what are some examples when you're looking post-restoration? What are some of the things that you're looking for?
I mean, I think the biggest thing, you know, you want to find any kind of like dropped frames or any kind of like weirdness going on. It always seems like more often than not things that get missed are things in the periphery, like when they're scanning the film. You know, you'll see things that kind of like will slide to one side, making sure that things are framed correctly. And especially when they're doing like recreations of the edits from the OCN, there's a lot that go wrong there. And, you know, it's a lot of, you know, digital stuff and digital artifacts, restoration artifacts, flashing. There's a million things that could go wrong. And that's just in that stage, you know. I obviously am not working alongside of like the color correctionists and things like that. But when something is wrong, you know what I mean? Or like Dolby Vision, things like that aren't working, like you're going to know, you know?
Yeah. So post the restoration and they get everything ready on the disc. How are you checking the disc to make sure that it's good for production?
So I either use like the old Oppo 203 player, which you can basically get like a disc image or emulation and play it off of that or I could burn it, depending if I want to try it on different machines. Sometimes I have a PlayStation, I have an Xbox. And if I have time, I like to pop things in different machines, different configurations of sound, whether I be running through an optical cable or an HDMI. The other day I found an audio issue that manifested on something, not when it was plugged in through the HDMI, but if you plugged it in through the optical, like all of the channels were wrong. You know what I mean? but when it was down mixed into PCM, it was right. Do you know what I mean? So it was like when it, but you know, so that was something that, like, you know, I feel like I learn something all the time, and that was a big one.
Crazy. I love that you brought up the player that you have, and it's hilarious because I have an Oppo 203, and I let Andrew know, and that was the moment where he was like, "Oh my God, how are you not doing QC for us? You
Yeah,
have an Oppo."
that is like the leg up that allows me to do a lot of stuff, 4K especially, because a Blu-ray DVD I can burn. You know what I mean? But a 4K I can't really burn, and that allows me to run the 4K from a file like it was a disc essentially. It acts exactly the same.
Yeah, the Oppo 203, for those that don't know, it's not been manufactured since I think 2018. So now they're
secondary market prices on them are insane.
Yeah, like starting at like $2,000. Literally, it's stupid. It is absolutely stupid.
I might have to plug in here really quick. Can you give me 1 second?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
So yeah, I have that player as well, and it is something that will allow you to put in basically any format, and it will be able to read it and play it. For a lot of people, the Oppo is like the main thing that you want to basically be able to throw anything at it in your collection, and it will be able to find a way to read it. And considering the secondhand prices, they are not easy to come by nowadays, sadly. Let's see. Picked up the Baskin bundle and Feeding Frenzy. Nice, Danny. Mozart says Oppo was too good. It couldn't last. Yeah, that is true for sure. Dude McMahon, what is your audio setup for QC? I'll ask Blake that in a second. I have not been one to do QC for audio. I've only done QC for video. I don't have a good audio setup for that, sadly. So yeah, I'll ask him that in just a second. Paul is saying, what is comparable to the Oppo now? This is the sad thing, is why it's valuable and still like costs $2,000 on the secondhand market. There is nothing comparable to the Oppo now. There's nothing being manufactured that will play everything like the Oppo did. There is nothing that has all of the options that the Oppo had. There's nothing that has been reliable like the Oppo is. So it is something that is difficult for sure. This name, how did you get to the web store exclusive section? When you go up to the menu and go to shop, it shows on the left side here under formats. Web store exclusive slipcover section. Blake, we had a question of what is your audio setup like for QC?
It really depends. I use like an LG 7.1 system. I also try to check on like just the TVs. I have an LG C2. That's my main monitor. I feel like the LG C2 gives you like the best Dolby Vision color representation. I'm sure there's nicer models, but that's just been the one that I've been working on for a while. But I used an LG 7.1, nothing fancy. You know what I mean? It's just a store-bought Best Buy type thing. And then I tend to check with headphones a lot, especially commentaries. Commentaries tend to have a lot of weird anomalies in them. And 2.0 mixes I check in headphones a lot too. But I mean, I'm only ever limited by how much time I have to work on something, because I would love to go through it like on every machine with every audio and visual configuration. It's like, you know, if you've ever recorded music, indie music for yourself, like you want to listen to it in the car, you want to like, you know, listen to it everywhere. So I mean, I try to be as extensive as I can, like even go as far as like a lot of times looking for things like in supplements, like misspelled chirons, or like, you know, just in subtitles, of course. That's always the that could be its own job.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that you can find in some of these things. And I think that is kind of the unsung hero of this QC process that people aren't realizing, because, gosh, you can discover just almost anything in so many different stages of this.
And you know, like I said, like it's a matter of breaking things, like trying to, you know, like just knowing the way that my system worked, knowing that, like, you know, I wasn't to get the pure DTS mix, I had to use the optical, so but it would be easy if I'm just doing 2.0 to just be like, oh, I'll just use the HDMI, you know what I mean? Check it that way.
Right.
But it's just, you learn that there is just, and it's always like a terrible feeling if I see a note about like a disc recall or something, and I'm like, oh my God, I raced to my notes. I'm like, did I work on that? So, but thankfully I haven't experienced that too much. Knock on wood.
I mean, yeah, that is a worrisome thing with QC for sure. You don't want to be the person that caused something to get missed.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard. Like, you are, more covered with some scenarios than others. Like some places, like it might, smaller labels, it might be me and the person who runs the label looking at it, and that's it. You know what I mean? The person who runs the label might be fatigued from looking at it 1,000 times, So, and that's the thing. It's like fresh eyes are always going to be, or a fresh look at something. That's why I always try to like take breaks or come back to it, and you can't race through it. You cannot race through the work. Like, I have all this work to do. It's going to take me X amount of hours. Like, no, you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more tiring than people probably understand. I mean, one of the things with QC is your eyes kind of have to be open the entire time. Like, blinking is a problem.
I'm a professional napper. Like, I will take, like, if I get slightly tired and I find my attention drifting, and especially this time of year where it's so hot, if I find my attention drifting, I will go and take a nap just to get back on it with fresh eyes. Because, like you said, watching the end of Asylum like 8 times, like that's what happens. Like if you're trying to force something, you're trying to get through a deadline, you're trying to watch something at the last minute. Sometimes it's better just to go to bed and look at it. Get up, set your alarm for 4 a.m. and get up and look at it again. Take a nap, go to sleep for an hour.
Blake, am I right in assuming that because you're plugged in, you can't use the headphones now?
Yeah, correct. Sorry.
Making sure.
Are you getting some feedback?
Ever so slightly, plus you're a little quieter than you were, but that's okay.
I might be able to switch back in a second. I'm at like 17%. We ran it down pretty quick here.
Understood. And now you're sideways.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, hang on. Let's see if we can come back. There we go. Yeah?
You're good.
All right. I'll try to be louder.
Well, maybe we've looked through most of the titles. We're probably close to the end here. Did you have any on your list that you wanted to share that we haven't yet?
I feel like between the two of us, we covered all 10 of them. I would say Out of the Blue is my number 1. Closed Circuit would be my number 2.
I love this movie. I love Closed Circuit. I love that we were on the same page for both of those.
Yeah. Out of the Blue is like that 80s renegade filmmaking vibe that I was talking about before. I had a great quote that starts off that film in particular, and it goes to show you the mind space of Hopper at this point. He said, "For a person like me, it's a miracle that I get the opportunity to direct a film because I don't listen to anybody." And it sure seemed like he was in that phase of not listening to anybody.
Oh yeah, it shows in the movie.
Yeah, he's ripping beers the entire time.
Very, very clearly. Of the 10 brand new films on the slate, what are like top 2 that you would recommend for people that you think are just the most fun?
I would do Ferrat Vampire for sure. And it would be a tough decision for me to decide between Last Shark or The Shark Hunter. So it depends. Do you like Treat Williams or do you like Franco Nero in a wig?
God, that's hard.
It is hard. They're both essentially, I feel like they talk about how it's kind of the same story for like at least half of the film, but they both really work for me, man. And I like, we didn't mention it, but Doug Buck's Sisters is actually a good watch. Chloe Savini's great in it. Stephen Ray is great in it. And it takes balls the size of Cincinnati to remake a Brian De Palma movie. So I give Doug Buck credit for that for sure.
Yeah, that is a bold move to do that for sure.
But yeah, it definitely I do not hate it. It's a decent watch.
Any more questions out of the chat before maybe we call it for the night? As people are thinking and maybe writing out a question, I just want to say thank you. You've been incredible, Blake. You've answered so many fun questions. Here's a question. Plan 9 wants to know, I'm half Hispanic, but I'm curious about skinheads. Any info on the movie?
Yeah, it's like Claudio Fregoso and Roselle Benieri, or Drudy. Wait, what was her last name? Sorry, I'm thinking of two different people. They're it's like their take on Romper Stomper. You know, it's
Yeah.
and it's got like, you know, the Fregasso charm. So it's serious, which is, you know, when you look at Fregasso's other work, it's hard to take it serious, but it actually is a pretty good movie, a decent story, and it's like, again, contemporary, I think, to that Romper Stomper, maybe American History X era of them being like, hey, look, we could make something serious too. And I mean, obviously, the storyline of like disaffected like male youth like kind of is relevant right now, you know?
Yeah. It's the first time on Blu-ray anywhere in the world, and it's Rosella Drudy is the name.
Drudy, yes, that's it. Yep. I'm thinking Roselle Benieri and Rosella Drudy.
Say that 5 times fast.
You can't.
But genuinely, I mean, great behind the scenes on all the QC process. I've only been involved in the post-restoration steps, so it's nice to hear about all the other stuff. But to hear somebody that's seen all of these in the last few months and put so much work in all the titles that we're all about to enjoy, just thank you. I mean, I know that this is not a process that you're getting fan mail for all your hard work on these, so genuinely thank you for what you do.
No, dude, I really appreciate this. This is a lot of fun, and thank you. I mean, at the point that I started doing QC, I started listening to you pretty much, and really got my disc collecting in high gear. And the enthusiasm that I have, you know, for this and continue to have for it is mostly because of people like you, Andrew, David, Jonathan Hertzberg from Fun City. Like everybody that I work with is just so enthusiastic about, you know, we're all fans on top of you know, working on this stuff.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say for anybody that did not see it, Blake's Letterboxd, Facebook, Instagram, all that is in the description below. Go give him a follow. He is somebody that you should absolutely keep an eye on throughout the years. I mean, he's watched so many of these movies that we're all interested in. He gets to watch them before us and prepare us for it. So, yeah, it's worth it.
And I had post lots of pictures of cats. If you like cats, I got lots of them. I'm surprised only one made a brief appearance tonight.
Very brief.
Yeah, I better go check. They're probably lighting the house on fire.
Hilton says, any thoughts on Ozzy lost this week, obviously?
Yeah, man, that's a bummer. You know, like I feel like all the heavy hitters, the legends from the 70s, Lou Reed, Ozzy, you know, and what a terrible year of David Lynch, you know, all the legends. I definitely feel like the world that I came from is starting to not exist anymore, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy to lose Ozzy, but I mean, to be fair, we got a lot more Ozzy than I think many of us ever expected.
Hell yeah, what a way to go out. I mean, if you saw any of the footage from that concert, like,
Yeah.
it was so awesome, so cool, and just like what a touching tribute to the man, you know? Dude's been around, like, you can't, I've seen a lot of people trying to discount his contribution to music, and that's crazy. Fan or not, you can't do that.
Not at all. I mean, he is a legend, literally.
For sure.
Well, that's all we got tonight. See everybody back next Thursday. Enjoy the rest of the sale. Keep in mind, stuff changes every day. So, like the box set sale will be there on Saturday. The Sunday will be the upgrade day. Keep an eye on stock counts. I mean, some of this stuff, for all we know, could sell out. There's stuff that's limited. There's stuff that, I mean, some of the stuff that's only $750 could be nearing the end of their license, theoretically. So they could literally just run out of them. So keep a close eye.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Blake. Have a good night. We'll see you all next Thursday, and have a good week. Stay safe, everybody. Yeah, another new first-time guest next Thursday, too. So come hang out.
Awesome.
See you then. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share it with someone else that may appreciate this.